Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Dustin Fox, Jason Lloyd, Tyvis Powell, plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
Welcome, everybody, to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. I'm back, along with Dustin Fox and Tyvis Powell, Adam the Bull here, Mike and Steve, who came back yesterday, of course.
The vacation taker.
Tyvis, you say this, vacation taker, as if I'm the abnormal one. You are the abnormal one who doesn't take a vacation. That is unhealthy.
No.
We've been through this, Tyvis.
No. Listen, I think that as an adult, if I'm scheduled to be somewhere, I'll be there.
Yes, that's
Dustin,
good.
would you agree?
Yeah, yes, in theory, yes. Yeah. But this particular job does allow some flexibility.
No. That's not the point. Bull, I woke up Tuesday, and I said, oh, yeah, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to see Adam the Bull, and we're going to have some laughs. And to my surprise,
I was not here.
He was not here.
Well, apparently you guys talked about it on the show yesterday, the fact that I got a Godfather offer.
I pretty much nailed your offer.
It wasn't, what did you say it was?
I said $1,500.
No, it wasn't $1,500, but it was a lot. Usually you get a little bit. You want me to tell you what it was? I'll tell you what it was. I don't care. They gave us $1,000 each in travel vouchers. So that's a free trip.
Okay.
That might be multiple free trips.
I mean, $1,000's pretty close.
So that's $3,000 in travel vouchers for the three of us.
Okay.
Right? Plus, we got to stay in 80-degree weather an extra day, and they paid for the hotel. Plus, they paid for our transportation back and forth from the airport to the hotel. Plus, they gave us $150 in food vouchers to use, total, to use at the airport whenever. Plus, we got another $250 total off our original flight. And then we ended up, anyway, it was a little crazy. But I got too good a deal. I'm like,
You don't want to be
it was you couldn't afford to come back.
No.
What?
No.
Couldn't afford to come back.
Now when we go to Italy in a couple of years, and I finally, it's going to cover most of it.
Most of it. Yeah. No, I would have done the same thing.
That's nice.
So I'm sorry and disappointed. I know you like working with me, Tyvis. I like working with you too. But it was a great opportunity. I appreciate Steve being flexible and getting people to fill in. And so now I'm back today.
Here's the thing, though. Can I take people inside baseball?
Take us inside.
Inside the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show when Bull and I text and talk.
Yeah.
Dude.
Bull runs the show.
Yeah, you do.
What do you mean?
Well, at least he thinks he does in his mind.
Yeah.
What do you mean he runs the show?
He, behind the scenes, controls the pawns.
He picks and chooses when he wants to work.
He picks and chooses when he wants to work.
Yes, he does do that.
He picks and chooses who he wants to fill in for him. He then calls them in advance to check on their availability, ask them if they can work.
He does.
And then he'll text you back and say, "Nah, I changed my mind. I want to do it this way. Can you do this way?" And I'm totally, I'm like, whatever you want.
I can confirm
that actually does happen, though.
So I'm just letting you know that last week Adam moved with me 17 times on things.
That's an exaggeration.
Plus the podcast times changed.
But here's the deal. So there is a nuggets of truth within that statement. Yes.
More than nuggets.
But the reason I try to do some of that is to be helpful to myself and others.
I think the key word there was myself.
Do you know that you made Jason have to be in the one chair?
That is scary. How did Jason do in the one chair?
He fine.
Did a good job.
He did.
He did?
Good.
It was a good show yesterday.
Good for him. It's a good opportunity for Jason to be in the one chair. I like that. I like giving opportunities to people.
So gracious.
But
so that means that I could get in the one chair?
Well, what I like to do is if I know I need a day off, I'll be like, well, because everybody's schedule is a little flexible, right? So
what's the why not just text Steve, "Hey Steve, I can't work this day," and then it's not your problem anymore.
I like to be helpful. I knew that you.
Do they really know that it's helpful? Do they think it's helpful?
I don't know. Maybe Steve doesn't find it helpful. I don't really. You're exaggerating, by the way. What happened last week was my trip was potentially going to be pushed back because my wife was sick and we weren't sure if we were going to leave on Friday. We were thinking about leaving Saturday, and instead of going away Friday to Monday, we were maybe going to go away Saturday to Tuesday initially. And so I knew you were filling in for me last Friday. So I asked you, hey, if I end up not leaving till Saturday, could you work Tuesday instead of Friday? And you said
it's fine.
You wanted to. You actually, that would have been better for you.
Yeah, I mean, dude,
but it turned out, but just because if I was changing plans, I wanted to make it a little easier, Steve, knowing that you could switch days.
Well, I'm pretty flexible for the most part.
Exactly. So.
Aren't we all?
And listen, as always, if Steve has a problem with the way I get myself involved, he can tell me. That's all right.
Lord knows he tells you everything else.
Well, it's funny because I texted Steve because I'm not supposed to. Originally, I was supposed to work. My work day during this
Tuesday,
time of the
Wednesday,
year.
Thursday.
We all cut down our schedule. We go from 4 to 3 people for the most part, and I'm working Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays. And I, because of my change in plan, I didn't work Tuesday and Wednesday. So I texted Steve and I was like, would you mind if I work tomorrow? And we'll just go 4 deep. Because I now that I'm back, I want to be in the rhythm. I didn't want to just work today and then be off a day and then I'm working 3 days.
So you missed it.
Of course. I love doing this. I don't make that up.
So why you take vacations, dude?
Because I also like being on vacation sometimes. No. You make it
Tyvis, you're killing me, dude.
You're nuts, dude.
You're gonna find the balance.
You gotta take.
I'm balanced.
It's not like I'm taking 13 vacations a year. I go away like twice a year.
Y'all act like this job is 11 to 7 or something. Like it's not like that's it's 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yes, we're aware. We're aware.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got a point there.
So
McNuggets
it's
on the other
important
hand
to
is
unplug and
7
get
to
away.
whatever.
It's important to unplug and get away. So I was happy to be on vacation, and now I didn't want to be off tomorrow. So I'm going to be on it. And plus, I haven't worked with Jay in a while, so I got to bust his balls a little bit.
I haven't seen you. I don't even know what Jay looks like.
Yeah. Anyway, so I'm going to be on tomorrow, and then I'll be on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week, and then I'm finally moving back to my house. So, I'll be off a few days after that, but that's the story. But I had a good time in Florida. The weather was amazing.
Great.
It was like 85 degrees every day.
Well, we had a snowstorm on my birthday. So.
I know.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this. When I got back, my wife and I are driving. It's freezing cold, but I'm like, I'm happy to be home. And I didn't care that it was cold anymore, but it was because I got 4 days in warm weather, recharged the batteries a little bit.
And now, are you going to Italy next?
We don't have definitive plans, but I've never left the country. Okay. Well, except for Canada.
Okay. Yeah.
But I've always wanted to go to Italy, and we've been talking about it. I'm actually not going away at all this summer, but I'm thinking about next spring of 26.
Okay.
Or the summer of 26.
So your next vacation is spring of 26?
No, probably not. I'll go away next winter. Maybe go to Arizona I want to go to Arizona. My wife and son have never been to Arizona. So I think maybe around Christmas this Christmas.
Okay.
So you can count on me taking no vacations between now and then.
Y'all heard
Does that make you happy?
Y'all heard that, right?
Actually, that's not true. I got to go to New Jersey for like 4 days in September. It's not really a vacation. It's a bat mitzvah for a friend.
I'll be here.
You'll be here?
I'll be here.
All right, good. Tyvis will be filling in. Anyway, one other thing for Florida. Nobody can drive in Florida. Dustin, you know this.
Well aware of that.
Nobody can drive. And it's gotten so crowded on the West Coast where you go and where I go. It's so crowded. All the drivers are old. They can't drive. It takes you like an hour to make a left turn.
Yeah. I mean,
oh, my God.
There's a lot of things I don't like about
New
Florida
York?
that
it's different.
It's way worse than...
It's different, though.
It's different. Yeah. But New York drivers are crazy fast.
Yes.
Whereas Florida drivers are crazy slow.
I see.
The good thing about Florida is the weather. There's not much else that's that great about Florida, but the weather's awesome.
It's to get away from this weather.
Yeah.
And be in a tropical
Yes.
environment in
it
2.5 hours. I mean, you get on a flight, you're there,
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It feels good.
This is the time you want to be there.
100%.
In February and
Yeah.
March, and when it's super cold, January.
Yeah, it was perfect. We had it was like a rainstorm for like 15 minutes. On the first day I was there. Besides that, it was 85 and sunny the whole trip.
Well, buddy, I'm going on a cruise next week.
Nice.
We'll talk more.
The Buckeye Cruise?
Buckeye Cruise
Are you
next
going
week.
to?
I will
No.
be here.
You've never gone on the Buckeye Cruise? Or
He went last
I've gone.
year.
Like,
Oh yeah,
I've
so
gone-
you did take vacation last
That's
year.
not a vacation.
Yes, it is.
Dustin, when you tell him that you got obligations to
Yeah, but it's still a vacation.
It's not a vacation. I have obligations on that cruise that I have to do every day.
There's a reason why we get to go on the cruise for free.
That's true.
We work for it.
Thank you.
Yes, but you also get to have fun.
Yes, of course.
Yes.
What was the year? Remember you got trapped on there?
Yeah.
That was like.
Were you on that one?
No, that was the year we had
Tampa.
spring ball and Coach Meyer was late coming back because it was like some clouds or something. They couldn't.
You were on there like what? 3-4 extra days?
No, it was a couple days.
Yeah, that was crazy. Yeah. All right, but enough about that. Let's get to some sports. I missed a lot while I was away, so let's get to it, Mike.
You did. We got plenty of Cavs, plenty of Browns coming at you today. We will start with some Browns news after a quick word from FanDuel. When the game tips off, the NBA action is just getting started, and there's no better place to get it on the action than with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. With FanDuel, you can place live bets throughout the game, so even if you miss the opening tip-off or want to bet on a fourth-quarter comeback, you can stay in on the action, and if you're looking for bigger payouts, you can combine your live bets into a same-game parlay. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets if their first $5 bet wins. Just visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to join today. That is FanDuel.com/UCSS for your shot at $150 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. We start, though, with the NFL and a report from Jordan Schultz yesterday, which indicated that Matthew Stafford could be had for a specific price. Steve, if you want to take tag for full here, this is from the Schultz report, and Social News Desk sucks so much that it blurs out Jordan Schultz's name for whatever reason. Glitch in the system. I have no idea why. He put out a new article on Fox. Recommend reading it. Some good tidbits in there. But basically, the conclusion is the first-round pick is believed to be the asking price for Matthew Stafford. So I have a two-part question for you guys today. Obviously, the Browns won't trade number 2 for Matthew Stafford. There's no way, no chance, no shot in hell that they would trade number 2 for Matthew Stafford.
Dustin thinks they could.
You think 2's on the table?
I don't know if they could. We had a conversation on Bull and Fox today that we can get to it now if you want.
Yeah. Get to it.
I didn't think that. Let me set this up, Dustin. You can start then. I didn't think there's a world where number 2 would be on the table. But 33 is a different question. Dustin, if you disagree and think number 2 is a possibility, enlighten me on why you think that, but I want to ask the rest of you guys.
I don't know.
If it was 33, would you do it?
I don't know that 2 is a realistic possibility. I just said that I would love to have Matt Stafford, and I feel like he's much more of a sure thing than taking a rookie quarterback. Now the problem is you still got to pay him. You got to have a new contract, which is going to be a lot of money. And I was like, if you're going to draft a quarterback at 2, okay, well, what if you could have Matt Stafford? He's incredible. He's 37 years old.
Yep.
I still think he has a lot left in the tank, and I think he's somebody that could help change that culture. He's a Super Bowl champion. The guy's been in the league for a long time. He's super talented. That's the type of player I think you need to turn things around, and that would fast track the Browns to getting back to being a playoff contender like next year if he were on the roster. Again, it's a pipe dream because it's not going to happen.
How many games did he play, by the way, last year, Stafford?
Last season?
Yeah.
1 sec.
If you look that up. Just because I'm just looking at the numbers, and I need more context in terms of.
Matt Stafford last season played in 16 games.
Oh, okay. So he played the whole season, essentially.
Yeah, 16 games.
Yeah. So, those numbers are – the touchdown interception is not great, but you look at what he did overall – he was still a good quarterback. Not great, but he was still a pretty good, solid quarterback. Tyvis, what say you?
Would I trade the 33rd pick for him? I mean, yeah, in theory, yes. I don't think he wouldn't come off to me as a long-term solution. Like, he give you a 2-year window. Like, okay. But the thing about Matt Stafford, what rubs me a little bit the wrong way is the last time he was in an environment like Cleveland was Detroit, organization that historically wasn't winning a lot of games, and he wasn't that much of a difference maker. I think they went to the playoffs, once when he was there? Once or twice, maybe?
He never won a playoff game in Detroit. Right. I can't remember how many times he got there.
So my thing is, as great as he was, even with one of the greatest wide receivers we've ever seen, he still wasn't able to make things happen. It wasn't until he got to L.A. where I guess L.A. did it to where they built the rest of the team around, and they was just a quarterback away, and boom, they went and got a quarterback. Similarly to the Eagles, they had everything, they just needed a running back, and Saquon was the missing piece. when I look at the Browns, I know that the players come out and say we're a quarterback away, but I don't think Matt Stafford would come in here and the Browns instantly is a Super Bowl team. Like, I don't look at it that way. So, like I said, I think that it'd be fine. Like, for Kevin and Andrew Berry to keep their jobs for another couple of years, that would be fine. But I don't think that he's the piece that's going to take them to the Super Bowl. Like, I don't think he's the answer for that.
I would 100% not trade 2 for Matthew Stafford. I probably wouldn't trade 33 for Matt Stafford either. I could maybe consider it more, and there's a variety of reasons why I don't think Matthew Stafford to the Browns makes a lot of sense. I still think he's a good quarterback, clearly. There's still a little left in the tank. I just don't know how much. You know, the reality is, outside of Tom Brady, who's played well at 40 years old, right? So usually guys are done 37, 38, 39. He could go off a cliff at any moment. Tom Brady was the only one really that defied that cliff. Mm-hmm. And so let's say
Favre was pretty good late, wasn't he?
But he never made it through a season. He kept getting hurt. With the Jets, he would tail off at the end of the year. Same thing happened with Minnesota. It's just so hard. He's had a lot of injuries. Plus, as you mentioned, you'd have to pay him. He's looking for a new contract. The Browns are in, obviously a very weird cap space because they're going to have to trade Myles Garrett. Now, if you traded for Stafford, you don't trade Myles Garrett.
Yeah, those two go hand in hand. He might
Right.
be enough to say, Myles, this is the answer at quarterback. Would you be willing to stay?
Now, if you want to tell me who gives the Browns the best chance to be competitive for the next, I'll say 2 years, I would say Matthew Stafford gives the Browns. There's nobody they can get that I can see, veteran or rookie, that will give them a better chance to win over the next 2 years than Matthew Stafford.
I agree.
Unfortunately, I think it's only 2 years, in my opinion. Again, you never know. Could be 3, could be 4. Who the hell knows? You have to pay him, which I don't know that they can even do that. He's got to be willing to, on some level, come here, because if he's going to work out a contract, it's got to be somewhere. And is he at 37 years old going to want to play in cold weather for the first time in his career?
He's never played in cold weather. He played college at Georgia. He got drafted to the Lions, played indoor with a dome.
He's from Texas.
And then he's from Texas, and then he gets to go to Los Angeles.
Right. So I can't imagine he's going to want to do that. You got to put up with his wife. You throw that in the mix.
You got to come to the AFC, and you've got Hall of Fame quarterbacks.
And that's it. Like, as much as I like Stafford, he's still good. He'd be the 7th or 8th best quarterback in the conference. So I just don't. There's really almost no chance. I hate to sound so pessimistic, but there's really no chance of the Browns being a Super Bowl contender in the immediate future. And the only hope of them becoming a Super Bowl contender anytime soon is if they hit on a young quarterback.
I mean, what's amazing about your statement there is that you said the Browns would have, with Matt Stafford, like the 7th best quarterback in the AFC, which is crazy because Matt Stafford's awesome.
Matt Stafford is awesome. He's still really good, but
think about this. Take it a step further.
Yeah.
If Matt Stafford couldn't win, and you're banking on a rookie to turn into one of those guys,
yes,
good luck.
Well, the odds of that happening are very slim.
Are even slimmer.
But at least there's a chance and there's a future there. You may not hit on that quarterback until 3 years from now, 4 years. I mean, Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, Jackson. That's not even including Herbert. That's not even including Stroud. But those 4 guys, what are they all? About 27, 29? They're all somewhere.
They're all under 30.
What's that?
They're all sub 30.
They're all sub 30. They're not going anywhere, any of those guys. So I think a stopgap measure like Stafford, even though he's the best possible stopgap measure, and could even possibly play at a Pro Bowl level. He didn't play at a Pro Bowl level last year, but he was still good. He could still play at a Pro Bowl level.
Thomas is dying.
It's just hopeless right now until you get that young player. Good luck.
No, but I think
I got him dying already.
I got a lot
unintentionally.
Dusty crazy. Listen,
I'm not crazy. I'm realistic.
The thing is, when you talk about all these great quarterbacks in the AFC and how difficult it is, because at some point you got to beat a combination of Josh, Joe, Lamar, or Pat.
Yeah.
Right?
Herbert.
You might have to beat 3 of those guys.
Okay, or Herbert.
Or Herbert. Or Stroud. I mean, those 6 are.
So you got to beat a combination of like 3 out of the 4s, whatever.
Yeah.
Anyways, would you say, okay, so obviously quarterback play, we always talk about how the quarterback play is the most important thing, and I agree with that statement.
Right.
Would you say that in the AFC, to make it to the Super Bowl, you should focus more on defense to trying to stop those guys and then get a good running game to keep the ball out of their hands?
I get what you're saying in theory.
Because trying to hit on a quarterback, for us, it ain't happening. So, like, for us, would you say, like, all right, let's just get us a serviceable guy, but have our run game be really good in our defense? Because that's how they got to the playoffs 2 years ago.
So your argument, right, is people are going to say, well, look, the only team that beat the Chiefs was the team that had the best running back and a very good defense in Philadelphia, right?
Yes.
But if the Eagles had
Daniel Jones,
even better than that, if the Eagles had Geno Smith as their quarterback,
would they have won?
They wouldn't have won the Super Bowl. They wouldn't have gotten to the Super Bowl. You got Jalen Hurts.
That's not a good comparison. Because Geno can throw the ball really well.
Geno threw as many interceptions as he did touchdowns.
Yeah, but see the thing, the reason the Eagles beat the Chiefs this year is simply for the simple fact that the Chiefs went into that game and said, I don't care what happens. Number 26 is not beating us.
Right.
We are selling out on stopping 26.
Yes.
And they said, good, because we got 2 other receivers that can go, and we got a quarterback that can at least get them the ball. But that's all they have. So it's like it would be like if Nick Chubb was playing for the Browns when it was prime Nick Chubb. The Chiefs would have went into that game like, I don't care what's going on. We stop in 24. And if the quarterback and wide receivers can win, you got enough.
But here's the thing, Tyvis. Guys like that, Nick Chubb at his best, Saquon Barkley last year, there's not a lot of guys like that.
I agree.
There's almost none.
I agree.
And then you have to have
an
excellent defense.
Yeah.
And how many big-time defenses have there been in modern history? The Seahawks had it for a minute. The Eagles, the Eagles' defense last year is not an all-time defense. It's a very good defense.
Very good defense.
I still believe that when we went to the playoffs with Joe Flacco, I feel like the Browns would have been more successful if they would have had a healthy Nick Chubb. Because they would have you forcing quarterbacks to throw the ball more, and that's playing more into people's hands.
But their defense still got smoked in that game.
Yeah, they did. But I'm just saying it wouldn't have been as bad. I feel like at least take the ball.
Yeah, of course.
For example, this season we didn't have a run game again, so now you're forcing these quarterbacks to throw the ball 40, 50 times a game, and it's bad. Where all these other teams, you're not asking them to do all that because they have at least some type of running game.
But the problem is, even if you want to build it that way, let's say you do. Let's say you go all in on building it. Defense, running game. We'll have some decent, just some guy, a quarterback, who's going to play smart, hand the ball off. We'll try to be the 85 Bears. We'll try to be the Ravens when they won the Super Bowl with Ray Lewis. Okay, well, you better get 4 or 5 Hall of Fame caliber defensive players. The Browns have 1, and he wants out. They have 1. Denzel Ward's their second best defender. He's not a Hall of Famer.
Hey,
good player,
easy,
Pro Bowler,
easy.
Not a Hall of Famer.
If the concussions held him, the injuries.
It is what it is. You talk about these great defenses. I mean, okay. Well, let's think about Seattle. How many Hall of Famers on that Seattle defense?
Sherm, Bobby.
Right.
I don't know if Cam's getting in. Earl,
that's 3 already.
I say just 3.
3. Who's their best defensive lineman?
Michael Bennett.
Michael Bennett.
But
he's not a Hall of Famer.
I wouldn't call him a Hall of Famer.
Okay, so 3.
Averill, but he's not a.
Yeah,
so that's 3, and that's a low amount.
Yeah.
All right. You look at the 85 Bears. You look at the
2000 Ravens.
The 2000 Ravens. All those Giants teams back in the day. There's like 4, 5, 6 Hall of Famers on some of these teams. Mm-hmm. The Browns have 1. They have, even if you look at all Pro Bowl caliber players, they only have 3, and that's if JOK is healthy, and that's just Pro Bowl level.
JOK made a big difference,
right? The defense
and that's the silent thing that nobody's talking about. We still ain't got. We need another. Even if Miles is gone, If JOK don't come back, man, oh man, oh man.
If they trade Miles and JOK can't play, like they might have one of the worst defenses in the league next year. So this idea of building some great defense, well, at the very least, if they hit all their draft picks, that's going to take 3 years. Which is same thing with quarterback.
We're still in the same boat.
Yeah, exactly.
Which goes back to what Bull said earlier, that Stafford could be the best possible option at bridge.
Yeah.
But it's a 2-year window, and the rest of the team may not be ready to be in a 2-year championship contending window to pair up with Stafford. Now, the one thing I want to mention with this that I do find kind of interesting is, and Dustin, you kind of alluded to this the other day, Stefanski and Berry are kind of in win-now mode. And if their mindset is we have to win to save our jobs, then the opportunity to trade for a guy like Stafford could be more appealing than a team that's drafting second overall, because most instances a team drafting second overall has a new regime coming in to then lead up to a rebuild. So that's kind of the one fork in the road here with the Browns situation. I think makes the Stafford stuff, even though it's probably unrealistic, a little more plausible considering the circumstances.
Well, think about it. Those are the guys that put together this roster that made the team, in their eyes, ready to compete for a Super Bowl right now. Because that's why they went after Deshaun Watson, because the roster in their mind was ready to win now. Okay, so what's changed? The roster's, I mean, a lot of it's the same, maybe overvalued by a lot of people, including yourselves. However, if they're still going to be here, and they are, they're not going to want to tear this thing down completely to the studs again. I don't think that they'll withstand it. I don't think that the Hasms will allow it. I don't think the fans will put up with it. So they're probably going to be in more of a win mode now, which is why the Stafford thing would be very interesting.
It would be. If I'm Jimmy Haslam, I'm not allowing Andrew Berry to make a trade that's good for this year but bad for the long term of the team. So if Andrew Berry came up to me and I was Jimmy Haslam and he said, "Hey, we're going to trade the second overall pick for Matthew Stafford," I'd fire him on the spot.
Man, I would, if I could get Stafford and it would be reasonably doable finance-wise, I would draft a quarterback like second, third round.
Honestly,
and let him learn a little bit.
If I knew,
I don't have a problem with that, but I'm not giving up the second overall pick.
This is what if I knew that I was trading for Matthew. That's what I say. If I knew I was trading for Matthew Stafford, I'd trade the pick.
Yeah, trade out. Give someone Travis Hunter, and get you an extra first round.
I trade down in the draft, accumulate some picks, then trade the first pick to.
See, now I would still want to not trade any more than 33 in that situation because we need some first round young talent on this roster. They don't have any. Go ahead, Mike.
Any final thoughts on Stafford? We ready to move on?
We can move it. Keep it moving.
I don't think anybody.
Do you think that the Rams would do him like that? Because a lot of the times, a lot of players say that they get shipped to Cleveland to die. So, like, do you think after everything he did with the Rams,
he needs a new contract? I mean, he has some say because he doesn't have to sign. He can retire. He can do whatever the hell he wants to at this point.
If you look, we were talking about this on the podcast earlier. Seattle could make some sense for Stafford, although I don't know if they trade him within the division like that.
No.
If I'm Stafford and I am willing to go to a cold weather city, I hate to say this, I'd much rather go to Pittsburgh than Cleveland right now.
Yeah.
Because the Steelers just have a better roster than the Browns do outside of quarterback. And, maybe the Raiders. I think you suggested the Raiders.
I mean, if I'm going to the AFC, I'd want to be, like, in the AFC South.
Well, the Raiders in the West.
I know that. Yeah. I'm not saying the Raiders. I'm saying
give yourself a chance to win a division.
I'd want to go to Tennessee.
To give yourself a chance to win the division.
Maybe Tennessee trades the 32nd pick or whatever.
They have 35.
I'm sure his wife would like Nashville.
Yeah. Why is it? Is the Dolphins still suffering a penalty? Is that why it's 31 picks in the first round?
No, there's 32 in the first round.
Why did the Browns?
So the Browns got the 33rd pick, then?
To my understanding,
that's because it reverses. Because it's a
all
tiebreaker.
three teams are tied with the same record,
right?
It goes in a separate order of the first round,
right?
The tiebreaker goes in a different way.
Yes.
So, all right, guys, let's talk a little Cavs here. Before we do that, if you're not a member of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show and want to support your favorite daily YouTube show, there are two ways you can do that. First is becoming a Starters Tier member. It's $1.99 a month. It gets you loyalty badges, custom emojis, and members-only community posts. But the big winner is being a Coaches Tier member for $5 a month. It gets you all the same starter tier perks, plus overtime videos, member shoutouts, and much, much more. Discount codes for merch, but daily overtime videos Monday through Thursday, unless we have to tape something. But It is unseen, extra content from the UCSS gang, and it is often off the rails. So if you're not a member and want to become a member,
often.
click the join button on our YouTube page. All right, guys, the Cavs made a buyout signing yesterday. It was not a big like most of us expected. Instead, they picked up Javonte Green off the buyout market, a 6'5" wing from the New Orleans Pelicans. He's bounced around the league for a decent while. He's played in the league for 6 seasons, not 9. Gives him a little more wing depth. Tyvis, when you saw the news of the Javonte Green buyout signing yesterday, did you like it? Is this a move that changes the Cavs' championship chances?
You're funny. No, honestly, when I seen the move, I said, well, they're okay. It shocked me that they decided to go there instead of a big. Everybody thought, that they would get an extra big man, but, they went with this. It kind of made me worried a little bit because I think this guy plays some really good defense if I'm familiar with his game a little bit. He plays
much more of a defensive player than
exactly.
An offensive player.
So what I thought about immediately was, is Isaac Okoro okay? Because that's, to me, seems like they play about the same type of role there. They're around the same size. But, yeah, outside of that, the first thing I thought about was Isaac Okoro when I seen this move. Like, is his injury worse than we think? Why did they go out and get a guy that plays wing and that plays defense? I thought that was Isaac's role. But outside of that, the move meant nothing to me because it's meaningless, as Bull would say.
I mean, it's not. How excited can guy's a 30, soon to be 32-year-old role player. He probably is not part of the Cavs' rotation in the playoffs unless there's a number of injuries. He's certainly a guy that can play in the regular season. And maybe in the playoffs there's a series where he's their 9th guy or something. Who knows, depending on whatever.
Yeah, I was sitting at dinner.
It's a no harm, no foul move.
Actually, this was after dinner. I was having dessert last night, having a little pizookie at BJ's last night. And you ever had
What
those?
is bazooki?
Pizookies. Oh,
It's delicious.
Chocolate cookie.
Incredible.
Chocolate chip cookie.
How have I never heard of this?
They have different flavors, too, and they put ice cream on top. It's so good. All right.
In the cast iron?
Oh, cast iron? Oh,
Yeah.
Fire.
Incredible.
I mean, I've had
And we're sitting
that,
there,
but
and my
I've
buddy's with me, and he goes, "Who's Javonte Green?" I'm like, "Oh, you mean the running back for the Broncos?" It's the only Javonte I was thinking about,
Yeah.
and he's like, "No, they just bought the buyout." I'm like, "Oh." And so I had to look him up.
Yeah.
Because I kind of forgot who he was.
Yeah.
So to that point, this is nothing.
Yeah.
Can I make it a little more than nothing?
Okay.
A little more than nothing.
Okay.
I got a couple things that
couple shekels more than nothing.
make sense. A, we just had a whole 1.5 year long debate on the Cavs have no wings. Well, now they have a plethora of wings. Are they elite wings? No. But are they wings you can play at any given time? Yes. The Okoro thing is he was in shoot-around this morning. I don't think the injury is that serious, but he's another insurance for Okoro and maybe even an upgrade over Okoro. I got to see how he fits in the offense. Doesn't do much offensively, but defensively, the dude can lock down and plays bigger than he's listed. He's listed at 6'5" as a 7-foot wingspan. And Steve, take tagboard here full because our guy Dan Devine, remember Dan Devine came on the show?
Mm-hmm.
He tweeted this out yesterday. It's a terrific stat from Dan Devine. In doing big number research recently, I found 3 players in the 80th percentile or higher in the B-Ball Index's perimeter isolation defense, matchup difficulty, defensive playmaking, ball screen navigation, passing lane D, and rim protection metrics. The 3 guys, Amen Thompson, Alex Caruso, and the newest Cleveland Cavalier, Javonte Green. To put that into simple terms,
Yeah, please, because nobody knows what the hell that means.
he's a very good perimeter defender. And he's bigger because of his 7-foot wingspan and can guard bigger than he looks at just 6'5" on paper.
So in the playoffs, we know that if you include Strus, Hunter, and Ty Jerome, we know those 7. That's the top 7.
That's your 8. You got your top 8.
No, that's
'Cause
7.
Dean Wade will be in there.
Oh, and Dean Wade, if he's healthy.
That's your top 8. Yep.
With Dean Wade. So that's your top 8. So now you're talking about, do they use a 9th guy? If you do, it's only a couple of minutes in a game. Who's in contention for the 9th guy before this move? It's Isaac Okoro and Sam Merrill.
Yep.
Right? Those are the only 2. Or
Yep.
maybe Jalen Tyson.
Probably. I would say he's, even though I like him more than some of those guys, I think he'd be lower on the Kenny Atkinson trust total.
So this guy is probably a little better than Okoro, no? As an overall player?
He's probably a little worse offensively.
Okay.
And from a defensive standpoint, I haven't watched him closely enough to – the metrics test out incredibly well. I haven't seen enough to, like, I'd be lying to tell you I was locked into the Pelicans, and he was a bench guy in the Celtics and the Bulls.
Yeah.
He always played well against Cleveland. Even though the game they played against New Orleans this year when Ty Jerome went crazy in that game, Javonte Green had 22 in that game.
Yeah.
He was good, but I'd be lying to say I'm, like, locked in to know how he does certain things, but he's played enough games that I think he could come in, and he's certainly a guy that's going to play regular season minutes. They got all the back-to-backs, 5 games in 7 nights coming up down the stretch here. Like, he will play regular season minutes.
Right.
But
And
he's
if-
just
if-
another option in a playoff series. If someone's in foul trouble,
Yeah.
you could put him in and not necessarily be scared.
Right.
Is the moment going to be too big for a guy like Javonte Green? He's 31 years old. He's played a lot of basketball in his career.
And if there's any injuries or foul trouble, he's a guy who could be the Cavs' eighth player in the playoffs.
Yeah,
Right? He, at worst, he's their
9th or 10th.
11th guy, I guess.
Yeah.
Could be 11, whatever. But, we know Dean Wade's injury history. Okoro's been banged up. He's clearly not, you asked the question, and we all kind of giggled, is he changed their playoff prospects? Of course not. But you'd rather, I probably throw him in for a few minutes in a playoff game than some of the other guys that they could use 11 through 15. So it's the Cavs are.
I mean, I'd rather put him in the game than one of the Morris brothers.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Or
Someone like that.
Whatever.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. He makes them 0.1% better, maybe.
When you look at the Cavs' options on the buyout market,
Yeah.
I assume they were going to go big because they had DeAndre Hunter. When you
Yeah.
look at the options for bigs, Kobe Altman made the decision. Javonte Green could potentially help us play. Like,
Sure.
whether it's injuries.
Yeah.
But this guy we know can actually play. And he chose Javonte Green over the corpses of whoever else is the bigs in the buyout market,
Right.
the Mo Bambas and the other options, who Kobe must have looked at and said, he may not even be better than Tristan Thompson. Because if there was an option out there that they thought could actually give them some sort of production in the front court,
Right.
they would have signed that guy.
Yeah, if you're not sure if a guy's better than Tristan Thompson, he's not worth bringing in because Tristan can't play anymore. I know we saw the news that Bobby Portis got suspended for 25 games. Did you think he was a guy that might have gotten bought out?
If he was, I thought he'd be perfect for Cleveland.
Yeah.
They did not end up buying him out because, well, I wonder if this had anything to do. I wonder if they knew this was.
What was he suspended
looming.
for?
Probably steroids.
I'm
It
about
was
to say
drugs. So
Yeah.
I don't know
According
if they
to
suspend for
Shams-
anything besides steroids anymore.
According to Shams, he took a pain-kill medicine that he
Yeah.
wasn't
on the
aware
approved
that
list.
was on the approved list.
Right.
This is the tweet, and this is kind of funny. Bucks Bobby Portis, his representative tells ESPN, Bobby unintentionally took a pain medication called Tridamidol, thinking he was taking a pain medication called Toradol. So two
Was
letters.
it
different.
tramadol?
Toradol?
Tramadol?
He thought he was taking Toradol.
Toradol.
He actually, or Toradol.
Yeah.
He actually took Tramadol.
Well,
I ain't never heard of the second one, but I definitely heard of that first one.
that's nonsense. You're a professional athlete. You're not
know the
looking at the
difference.
drugs you're taking?
First of all, your doctor's supposed to be prescribing.
Yeah, I know.
That
I mean-
Toradol is not something that you.
No, you can't just pick it up off the
Yeah,
counter.
yo, hey, I need a Toradol shot,
Yeah.
or I need a Toradol like that. With
Yeah.
the, I don't know. Yeah,
Anyway.
missed me with that one. He missed me with
It's
that
the
one.
NBA, too. I don't know why the players just don't. Yeah, I tried to get away with it, and I got busted. I'll see you in 25
Because
games.
you're
Nobody
supposed to.
cares.
You're supposed to die with the lie.
Yeah, all right.
All right, let's get back to the NFL. Quick update. G.
Yeah.
Bush, our always injured co-host.
Get
Yeah.
it.
You ready for this latest update?
Yeah.
G's off tomorrow. So, Bull, I'm glad you're working.
It is a good thing I'm working now tomorrow.
Yep.
Why is
Good
he
thing you're
on?
working.
So it's not a 4-man panel.
Nope, it's a 3-man show. G
Yeah.
texted us about 20 minutes ago
Yeah.
saying he had to get some dental work done last week. Well, he went back to get it checked up on, and they got to do more work, so he can't talk till Monday. So G will not be on tomorrow,
Yeah.
and there will be no barbershop on Saturday.
Okay.
So no barbershop.
Yeah.
G's not on tomorrow.
So we
G's
want-
alive.
best.
So you
He'll
and
be
I,
back on Friday.
You
Byron
and I are
Buxton
aware-
of UCSS continues.
you and I are wearing our barbershop shirts for no reason.
Yeah,
today.
that's true.
Yeah, I noticed that a second ago. But we support you, G.
All right.
Better, my friend.
Feel better.
This has
See
been-
you Monday.
This has been a
What
rough
has he not
week.
had an issue with?
He is a mess. He's a mess.
I mean, I love him. I do. I feel bad sometimes because
I know.
I feel like it's every.
He's got so many things.
Man, our injury report for
Yeah.
our staff has been.
We actually should.
brutal.
I mean,
we should make an injury report for
His
the
body's
staff.
like trying to keep a Range Rover on the road, man. Like you just can't. It's so expensive, dude. It's like you just
Yeah.
always something going wrong.
There is.
Anyway.
All right, so no G. Bush tomorrow, but we will have a show. And no barbershop, but it'll be back next week. G's back on Monday. All right, guys, the NFL salary cap is taking another significant leap up. According to Dan Graziano and other NFL reporters, the projected salary cap for next season is expected to rise to somewhere between $277.5 million and $281.5 million. That final number will be dependent on exactly what the TV deal comes out to be, but somewhere between $277 and $281.5 million. That's a $53 million jump over the last 2 seasons for the salary cap. Bull, how does this increase in salary cap impact, if at all, the Cleveland Browns' offseason plans?
Obviously, it helps. I mean, that's part of the reason they keep kicking the money, keep kicking the can down the road. You and I were talking on the phone last night, Mike, and you made the point of, well, now Deshaun Watson, all that dead money on Deshaun Watson, it's not technically dead, but all that money on Deshaun Watson, it's a smaller percentage of the overall cap. Mm-hmm. The bit more it goes up, and you'll see the same thing. By next year, certainly by 2027, but maybe even by next year, we're going to have a cap of $300 million. I mean, that's, and because TV is just a cash cow, beyond. It's a cash monster. Mm-hmm. And for it to go up over $50 million in 2 years, that's crazy. So it helps the Browns because that was way more than it was projected to be. It was supposed to go up. It always, outside of the COVID year, it always goes up.
Yeah.
But it wasn't expected to go up originally this much. And so now the Browns, who are, I think, $25 million or so over the cap, and the cap situation gets worse if they trade Myles Garrett, because that will create more dead money. But this makes it easier for them to maneuver in terms of, because they'll continue to kick the can down the road on Watson.
Yeah.
And remember, like at some point it'll be, well, now Watson's only $24 million on the cap. If by that point the cap is $300-something million, that $24 million, I know it sounds crazy, is kind of not that big a deal at that point. Whatever it is.
I wonder, how he's missing this whole season and they getting the cap relief for him.
I don't know that they actually get cap relief.
What is it? The insurance pays for it. So
right,
they don't have to.
I just think I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I think the Haslams get part of it, and they get a little bit of cap relief. I think
maybe,
I think it's like $5 million, something like that.
Is that this year or is that next year? Because
I'm not 100% sure.
See,
I'll try looking it up.
Well, starting in March.
It would have to be next year, right?
Well,
he would have to miss this whole year, and then they take the relief off of next year.
The following season. Yeah. We don't know with 100% certainty he's going to miss.
Correct. That's what I'm saying. Like, I doubt it'd be this year.
Yeah.
Huh. I mean, yeah, like you get a little more dollars to do whatever, but listen, y'all already, you handicapped already anyways. I mean, so what? It gives you 10 more million, which I guess that buys you one free agent, 1 or 2 free agents. So yeah, I mean,
it does benefit teams like the Browns that are willing to spend to the cap.
Oh yeah,
there are teams that are unwilling to spend to the cap. Yeah. So it benefits teams like the Browns. There's no doubt about it, but it's not. Even with this big jump, the Browns still have work to do in terms of the cap, but this will help.
It helps the Myles Garrett situation too, for what
and it means the Bengals should pay Jamar Chase $40 million and T. Higgins $30 million, and let's go stop effing around.
They can do it.
They absolutely can do it.
They are absolutely not going to do that.
I think they are. What do you think about that?
The reports are they're thinking about it, right?
Well, they're going to franchise tag Higgins, which is smart.
So Trey Hendrickson's walking.
No, he's not a free agent. He's still got 2 years left, or at least 1 year left.
Oh, I thought he was a free agent.
No, he just wants a renegotiation.
People talking about like he a free agent.
No, he's not. He's unhappy with his contract, as he should be.
He had a good year and needs paid.
He's been great with the Bengals. I mean, he's been one of the best D linemen in football, and he needs to get a raise.
Someone will pay him.
100%.
What is he? 31?
He's not that old, is he?
I don't think he's 31. He's played. I mean, I think he's been. He might. I don't know. How old is Trey Hendrickson, Mike? You look that up.
Trey Hendrickson? Yeah, give me 1 sec. Trey Hendrickson is. ESPN doesn't want to load. Hold on.
I mean, there's no reason they can't pay Higgins, Chase, and Hendrickson. No reason.
Henderson is 30 years old and will be 31 at the end of next season.
Okay,
he turns 31 next December.
The Bengals are like $100 million under the cap.
When does pass rushers go off the cliff? Because 30 is like the.
Nah, you could play into 30. That's not like running backs or A lot of the good all-time pass rushers played well into almost their mid-30s.
I mean, like, wasn't Dwight Freeney really good at like 35?
Yeah. Bruce Smith, Reggie White. I think a lot of these guys.
Yeah.
Trey Hendricks is not as good as those guys, but he's really good.
Yeah, because here's the thing: to be a good pass rusher, you can cut down your reps and just get you. You only have to be on for like 17 snaps a game.
And they don't have to extend him that long. They just got to pay him more for the next 2 years. And even if they extend him, give him a 3-year deal and pay him, $25 million a year or whatever, instead of I think he's getting $15 million. Whatever.
Dwight Freeney, you mentioned him, Dustin.
Yeah.
Made a Pro Bowl at 30. 31, he was okay, and after that, started to go down and down.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine. If Hendrickson sucks his last year, that's fine with me. They got to pay him. But back to the Browns. Obviously, this is a benefit. This benefits the teams that are willing to spend to the cap, like the Browns, like Philly, more than anybody else.
Listen, they pay those guys to be. The reason that Andrew Berry and them got this job is because they understand how to finesse the salary cap and all those things and make things work. And obviously, this gives them a little bit more flexibility. But we talk about how they're in cap purgatory.
They're not in cap purgatory, but they have to. The cap is a factor. Purgatory is too strong.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
they in cap trouble. How's that?
Trump, there's issues, especially if they have to trade Myles Garrett.
There's cap issues.
Yes, definitely.
But if AB, the reason that he's been given all this crown is because he's been able to finesse it. And when we didn't feel like we had money, he was able to do some things that created some money.
I don't buy that.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
This is a situation where he really got a shot. Because at the end of the day, you got us in this situation to begin with.
That's right.
So therefore, you got to get us out of this.
He's no cap genius. The reason he was able to do something about it is because Jimmy lets him keep spending down the line. And Jimmy, unlike a lot of owners, to his credit, is willing to kick the can down the road on the money when other owners are not willing to do that. And that's why they've been able to manipulate.
We have one of the wealthiest owners in football.
Do we have anybody like that we can renegotiate deals?
Jack
you can renegotiate any deal you wanted to negotiate.
Like I feel like who
there's not many
who left.
They could restructure Myles Garrett's contract and open up a ton of cap space if they want. This also, my first thing I thought of this.
Well, if he said he's willing to do whatever.
When the salary cap went up, because we've talked a lot about if they don't trade him, it's going to lead to him getting some sort of gigantic contract.
Right.
Well, I don't know if you saw some of the tweets, like Micah Parsons yesterday when this was announced. He just quote tweeted with money signs. I mean, this is good for
the cap going up. All the guys that are about to get paid, like Chase, like these guys all want. If they were willing to sign for 35, now they want 40. Now they want 42.
And Myles Garrett's contract, whatever that was on the table before, just went up. I don't know, $10-15 million.
Big time.
Which is either good or bad for the Browns, depending on how you want to look at it.
Oh, I think it's good for the Browns because.
No, I just meant having to pay Myles more if they renegotiate that route. Whether that's good or not for the Browns. This salary cap increase is certainly good for the Browns because of what you said. Jimmy's willing to pay. And if you have a team that's willing to pay, you could finagle the cap. You can't avoid the cap, but you can finagle the cap almost any way you want.
That's right. They could restructure Jack Conklin. I was reading that they could.
He ain't got no more guaranteed money.
Right, but you don't want to move on from him because he played pretty well.
I mean,
decent
last year.
No, I agree.
Yeah, I'd want to
Is this his last year under contract?
I think so, and so maybe you renegotiate a longer deal, but you spread the money out.
See, I hear stuff like that, and it makes me think that they're 100% going to take this Will Campbell kid from LSU, and it's going to cause an uproar.
If they're going to draft him, then they'll probably draft him. They'll probably trade down. And draft.
Probably, but
that's if somebody wants to trade up to get a quarterback.
It's going to cause if they take that with that number 2 pick and say,
fans
Will Campbell from LSU tackle, everybody going to be like, what? It's going to be a problem. So yeah.
They have no more guaranteed money on Conklin, by the way. If they wanted to cut him, they can cut him after this season much more easily than right now. And his cap number this year is $19 million. His cap number next year is also $19 million.
Right. So what they could do with Conklin is they could offer him an extension and spread out that money, which would make sense because he's played well. Now he's been hurt, and when they re-signed him last time, we all thought it was, myself included, thought it was a stupid deal.
It actually would be funny if they did it again.
Right.
And then it gets hurt, and then that would just be the continuation of the cycle.
Exactly.
All right, let's get back and talk a little Cavs, guys. Quick reminder, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. It does wonders for the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, and it costs $0.00. If you have friends that haven't subscribed to UCSS.
Where they been? Where are they?
Tell them to
Living under a
subscribe.
rock?
Send them the link. There's a subscribe button on the homepage. Once again, it costs $0.00 and does wonders for us. And also, I'm just waiting for the link back from Polk, but the date is locked in, and Comedy Show 2.0 is a go. March 28th, Friday night at Pickwick and Frolic. We'll make a graphic when Anthony's
You
back.
said March 28th?
Yeah, which you said you could come to, Dustin.
I could, but I just qualified for Nationals. I'll be in Florida now.
Well, Dustin will not be there, but the
He's
rest
out.
of your favorite
I'm
UCSS personalities will be
Yeah.
there doing some stand-up comedy at Pickwick
Damn
and
it.
Frolic
Where'd go?
Yeah, now you're going to miss it.
at
sorry, guys.
9:15. So we'll send out the link once the link is live for tickets. All money is going to charity, Boys and Girls Club of Northeast Ohio. So come join us for a night of bad jokes, good jokes. Bull, I think you said Aaron wants to participate.
Aaron and I, no, I'm going to be doing stand-up, but Aaron and I are writing it. We just added something, what I really like, a really good bit. We just added yesterday.
So make sure you guys, March 28th, we will send out the ticket link once it is live.
I'll
But it's
heckle in
officially a
the
go.
crowd.
Officially a go for next month. All right, guys, speaking of back in action, not just a comedy show, the Cavs, after a long layoff for the All-Star break, are back in action tonight against the Brooklyn Nets. They've already beaten the Nets twice this season. The Nets, however, have won 6 of their last 7 games prior to the break. They held all of their opponents in those 6 wins to under 100 points, so they are playing better of late. But instead of focusing on just the Brooklyn game, I want to make this a big picture thing. And Tyvis, we can start with you and go around the horn. Over the final 28 games of the season for Cleveland, what's the number one thing that you're looking for this team to kind of solidify, put in stone before the playoff push?
Toughness, and toughness. I think that's the only thing that's missing from this team. We talked about it on Tuesday, or was that yesterday? That might be yesterday. Well, we was talking about how all of the Tristan Thompson and the Jared Allen screens and all those things. At the end of the day, I still want to see these guys fight back. I don't want to see these guys get pushed around. Also, I want to see these guys continue to dominate the paint. I think they've really answered the bell on any other questions that we had. They're doing a great job of sharing the ball. Their DG has come back with vengeance this season and become one of the clutchest players in the closing minutes of a game. Donovan, maybe he's not the same Donovan, but he has to be. I mean, it's still there. Trust me. If it get like that, we know that Donovan can take off. But right now, he's doing a really good job of letting everybody carve their roles out. And then you see Evan. Evan was the big key that everybody talked about. Evan has been comfortable taking the ball coast to coast. He's gotten the ball. He's dunked on people. He's shooting a 3 with conviction now. It ain't even no thought. He's just pulling the thing. He's not afraid to put the ball on the ground and take people to the cup. Everybody, all the things that we worried about, they went out and they acquired a bigger guard or a bigger wing that can defend. So when you go up against the Jason Tatums and the Jaylen Browns, you got somebody that can at least cover them. You've beaten OKC. You've beaten the Celtics. The only thing that y'all struggled with was the toughness. And when you went up against the Rockets, obviously the Hawks game was what it was. I think you go up against Memphis soon, so that'll be a toughness test for you guys. I just want to see you guys continue to finish. Can you guys continue to battle and continue to bang with people and not back down to anybody? If you can answer that question in these last 28 games, because there's some games in there that you'll go up against some scrappy teams, you continue to answer that bell, then I think going into the playoffs, everybody's very confident in everything that you can do.
I would say I want to see them find out who the starting lineup's going to be with Hunter and Strus, and so that's going to be kind of interesting to watch the final. What is it? How many games are left?
28.
Mikey, 28. So the final 28 games. Let's figure out what the best rotation is going to be. Maybe it's for certain matchups. Maybe it's for the long haul into the postseason. But I think Hunter's got to continue to get comfortable with this rotation.
I think I agree with both of your arguments there. Yes, the Cavs need to get tougher. That's the biggest question mark with the Cavs. It was a problem in the playoffs against the Knicks 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. We talked about it even in a series they won against Orlando last year. When they've played a couple of the good teams, there's been some question marks about how tough they are in these physical matchups. But also with Hunter. I mean, Hunter is the biggest in-season acquisition they've made since the LeBron years. And he is the one guy they've added to this roster this year that could end up being the difference in them winning or not winning a series. He could be, he's not a superstar, but he's a good enough player that he could end up being a difference. And so him getting fully integrated with this team and his teammates in these 25 games is huge. So if both of these things happen, the Cavs prove they're a tougher team than they've been credited for, and if Hunter can really fit in with this team over the next 25 games, then I agree with you guys that they have everything they need to win a championship. This team can win a championship. I don't think they should be the favorites, but I definitely think they are one of the favorites. And Dustin said this on our podcast earlier, and I agree. I think that if the Cavs beat the Celtics, they're winning it all. I think if they beat the Celtics, they'll win against whoever comes out in the West.
I got a question for you, Mikey, because you are a basketball expert on this show. What was the biggest difference? The 2 times they played OKC, obviously the first one was lights out, they won it. But the second one, what was the difference in those 2 games to you from the way the Cavs played to why they was able to win one and why they got ran out the building at the other one?
When they lost in Oklahoma City, they got down huge in the first quarter. I think it was a 20-point deficit in the first quarter. And in Oklahoma City, just like Cleveland has an incredible home crowd, the OKC home crowd is on that same level. Like that's another elite NBA regular season and playoff atmosphere. And it's just a lot tougher because they were down at home, too, if you remember. Max Strus hit 3 threes in the first quarter to keep that game within 10 points. And then the offense started clicking, and they utilized Evan and Jarrett to the maximum of their abilities in that game, and OKC had no answer. When they got down 20 in the first quarter against OKC the second time, they never really tried to use the bigs to their advantage and tried to attack what OKC's best at, which is keeping guys out of the paint. So, I'd have to go back and watch the 2 games to dissect anything more than that. But when you get down 20 on the road, it's a lot more difficult than being down 10 at home.
What is the Cavs' record on the road right now?
For the season?
Yeah.
Very good. They have a 19-6 record on the road this season. That is the second best road record in basketball. Okay. Behind Boston, who's 22-6.
Okay. Now, the only reason I asked is because I know both games, obviously with OKC, we know about Lou Dort and him and Donovan's matchups and how he does a great job just defending Donovan. So I was just thinking about, okay, other guys stepped up, and you're right, the big to big was what we talked about the most. But in the second game, Donovan obviously, again, wasn't a factor. So who steps up in his absence when he can't step up? And I guess the biggest difference would be Evan.
OKC also, I'm looking at the box score tie. OKC shot the crap out the ball that game. I mean, they hit 50% from the floor, and I don't know what their final three-point percentage wasn't good. But Adam Flagler, who played the final 7 minutes of garbage time, went 0 for 9 from 3 in 7 minutes. So that completely distorts their overall team numbers. So I don't know but Lou Dort was 6 and 9 from 3.
Yeah, I remember that.
And Brendan Carlson.
That's the worst name ever.
Lou
Dort. It is pretty bad.
He got the hard.
There's a guy named Dick whose last name is Dick.
Grady.
Right?
Grady Dick.
That's the worst name.
Do you know what Lou Dort's real name is?
Cool
Grady Dick.
Grady Dick.
Lewis.
No, his real name is, I don't even know how to Lugans. Luguentz.
Whose real name is that?
Lou Dort's real name
Lugans
is
Dortz.
Lugans.
Yeah, thank God.
Where's he from? I mean, what country?
Canada.
He got the hardest.
Canada. It must be.
He got the hardest little phrase. The
like
Dortchy
French,
chamber is ridiculous.
Yes.
Because it's real. That Dortchy chamber real.
Ty, you mentioned the big-to-big passing. We didn't do overtime yesterday because I had to go tape something upstairs. And that was about the big-to-big passing. And I think the Cavs down the stretch have done a really good job of using those two as offensive cogs. But there are certain matches where I want to see Kenny Atkinson make those two not just part of the offense, but featured pieces and weapons. It's about a 4-minute thing I did, but you just want to play that?
Let's play
it. Kind of breaking down the Cavs' utilization of their two bigs this season. Raise your hand if you had skepticism entering this season that both Jared Allen and Evan Mobley could coexist as two non-shooting bigs together in a league best offense. My hand's up. My bad, because I was wrong, and I know I'm not alone in that category. What Kenny Atkinson has done to unlock the potential of this big man duo has been nothing short of spectacular this season. And right now, we're seeing the best of the Evan Mobley-Jared Allen pairing, and the numbers back that up. This season, in 704 minutes on the court together, Jared Allen and Evan Mobley as a duo have an offensive rating of 124.1, a 108 defensive rating, and a net rating of 16.1. Compare that to last season's net rating. Same pairing last season. They had a net rating of 0.9, a 15.2 differentiation in net rating from this year to last year. So how has Kenny Atkinson unlocked the absolute best out of both Evan Mobley and Jared Allen? Part of it is the pacing and the space in which the offense is operating. The other part of it is the evolution of both bigs and their ability to read defenses and make the correct pass in split-second situations. Let's show you a couple plays that highlight that. This was against Oklahoma City earlier in the year. Look how high this pick and roll is being set, and with Hartenstein on top of Jared Allen, that's going to leave a wide-open rolling lane and a big space for Allen to catch. On the turn, he notices that Mobley's defender has stepped up to help. He has Hartenstein on his back, which means no one's there to get Evan Mobley, and he's able to deliver a perfect pass for the easy dunk. When you see this play run through in real time, look at how quickly Jared Allen deciphers the defense, figures out where the open man is, and delivers the pass. That's less than half a second. Earlier in the season, against the Denver Nuggets, same situation. High pick and roll. Donovan Mitchell's your ball handler here. That's Michael Porter Jr. He's supposed to be guarding Evan Mobley. He's in the right help spot, and he comes to help when Allen catches. That leaves Russell Westbrook to guard Evan Mobley. The issue is if he leaves Evan Mobley, that leaves Darius Garland, a 43% three-point shooter, wide open, and Mobley's already calling for it. He knows what's coming. It's the alley-oop. Once again, in real time, look how quickly Allen is processing all of this information at once. Where's the help? Is Westbrook coming off? No. Easy alley-oop. Mobley can also do the same thing. This was back to the Oklahoma City game. Cavs are running a little horns action here. Mitchell can go off either side. The key is look how high the ball screen's being set. When Mobley catches, he feels the help immediately, and that's going to leave Max Strus in the corner because Strus's guy has come up to help. Mobley sees that the other opposite corner guy has not left his man, meaning without even looking at Max Strus, he knows he is wide open to be able to knock down the open three. Another split-second decision without having to take time to process. Those are just three examples. There are many more this season that highlight the passing between Evan Mobley and Jared Allen, and that alley-oop right there, that is the unicorn status and the unicorn ability we have been hoping to see from Evan Mobley for quite a while. His passing has gone to a new level this season, and it's leading to highlight plays like this. But it's not just Mobley. Allen also has a couple of highlight passes on his resume, slipping it through two Pacers defenders for the easy dunk. It's been incredible. When you look at the overall numbers for the bigs passing this season, they've both thrown about 1,500 passes. And of those 1,500 passes, their pass-to-assist percentage is right around 7.5. So out of 100 passes thrown, about 7.5 turn into assists. But when they're passing to each other, check out how high those numbers jump. Mobley to Allen jumps up to 42%. Allen to Mobley, well, it's not 42%, but it's still nearly 3 times higher than his pass-to-assist percentage for all Cavaliers teammates. When these two are looking for each other, it typically ends in good things for Cleveland. And when you go back to that Oklahoma City game earlier this year, Allen had 25, 11, and 6. Mobley had 21, 10, and 7. That's not just an incredible performance for them. It's an incredible historic performance. In fact, it hasn't happened since 1998 when Tim Duncan and David Robinson did that. Let me say that one more time. No big man tandem in the same game has scored 20 points, grabbed 10 rebounds, and had 6 or more assists since Tim Duncan and David Robinson in 1998. In fact, it's only happened 17 times in NBA history as the Cavs look to close out the second half of their season and make a deep playoff push that hopefully ends in a championship. It's going to be imperative for Kenny Atkinson and the coaching staff to continue to find ways to not only utilize the big man pairing of Evan Mobley and Jared Allen, but turn them into a weapon, because those 2 7-footers are something most teams across the league simply cannot match.
Mike, nice job with the breakdown there.
Look at you, man.
Yeah.
You're pretty
He's a
darn
TV
good.
guy, folks.
I love how your new program allows you to like draw the arrow, spot things out. You really become a long way with that thing.
We just got to get a coach tied for that again.
He's the John Madden of the NBA
Well,
now.
yeah.
He is the whiz of the telestrator there.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
That was good. And it will be interesting to see when they play some of these teams that have given them some problems, if they can use their two big guys to a physical advantage.
Yeah, I was looking at some of those things, like the one against the Nuggets where Jared Allen throws the alley-oop to Mobley, and I was thinking to myself, like, if I was the Nuggets, how would I play that? Because I'm trying to think in playoffs, what will teams do? And wouldn't you think that they would try to make Jared take them shots? Like, I'd rather live with him taking the jumper than, sagging back or allowing Evan to come behind me and catch a oop and things like that. So I wonder if that's how teams will attack, like, all right, force Jared Allen to shoot jumpers, which he's got the little hook, but, just force that because I feel like the percentages on that obviously is.
Jared Allen, I feel like he never takes a jumper.
It's a hook. It's a jump hook. It's like a little hook he does.
I don't think if he caught, he would shoot a jumper on that. I think he would just try to get to the bucket, which is why you have to step up early to at least close the space.
Right.
I'm not sure what the football comparison is, Tyvis Dustin. Maybe you could help me understand this, but you have to show to make them think you're there, but also not be there. It's maybe some sort of zone cover 2 situation on the outside where, like, you're deep, but you're not too deep. But if you completely commit, then the backside alley-oop or pass to Mobley is open. If you don't commit,
let's take it to my tennis terms. You could call that a fake poach.
a fake poach,
Kinda
exactly.
show them and then get back, so you don't really give them the alley. You know what I'm saying? Just I was really
tough.
good at that this morning. Troy was having trouble with that.
Draymond Green, would not
Did.
want to beat.
Nice.
Dustin, who's your partner, by the way?
Chris.
So Chris is your partner, not Troy.
Yeah, no, we poor John and Troy, man. Those guys just.
And you won your championship. Congratulations.
Well, regionals. We won regionals.
Regional.
Yeah.
A regional championship.
Yes.
So now you played in the Nationals.
Do you do singles too?
I play singles. I don't play. I'm not as good at singles.
Yeah.
But I do play it, and it's way better in terms of workout, like a workout.
I'm sure it is. Yeah. Your lateral movement must be like
It's off the
through
charts.
roof now. How did you get into this?
How'd I get into it?
Yeah, like
I don't know.
Is your partner a lefty?
He's not.
So how do you decide, when both people are righties, how do you decide who takes which side of the court?
I play deuce side because I have a nice slice chop return that can be low. It's angled, and he's got a better two-handed backhand, so I put him on the ad side and allows him to really unleash. And he's got a good forehand too, so he can handle either thing if they decide to serve.
Good luck in the Nationals.
yes.
Thanks, man. Fake poach.
Last thing, we'll move back to our top 10 quarterback list, which I know we've been waiting for a week. When the Warriors were at their peak offensively, Draymond Green was as good as any player maybe ever at catching that short roll, reading the defense in 1 second, and making the right pass. And when you had shooters like Steph, Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson in the corner, you can't help whatsoever. They're not that level. Mobley and Allen, they're not Draymond level yet. But they are both in the upper tier of big men passing this season, which is why even though Allen, if he's the one on the backside and Mobley's catching it, even if he's not a shooting threat, the ability to read and figure out who's half a step out of position from a defensive standpoint and deliver to the open guys what's made the Cavs offense basically unguardable at times this season. So it's been cool to see.
I hear what you say on that one, but I think that Evan, you say Draymond was one of the best at, just the passing, but just catching that ball and that right there at that free throw line, I feel like Evan could be more lethal than Draymond was because of the ability to finish at the rim. Like, don't get me wrong, Draymond can finish, but, like, Evan should probably finishes better than Draymond, right?
100%.
Okay, so, yeah, so now he's got the option to pass or take you off the dribble. Like, that's, as a defender, I mean, good luck is what I'm going to tell you.
The best ever in that spot might be Jokic. Like right
now.
Oh, well,
yeah.
The greatest ever in that individual. I'm just saying Draymond was the underrated cog of that Warriors offense because if you didn't make the right decision, he was going to make you pay. He was Tom Brady-esque in that sense. But let's get to quarterbacks, guys. After a quick word from FanDuel, when the game tips off, the NBA action is just getting started. And there's no better place to get in on it than with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. With FanDuel, you can place live bets throughout the game. So even if you miss the opening tip-off or want to place a bet on a fourth quarter comeback, you can stay in on the action. And if you're looking for bigger payouts, you can combine your live bets into a same-game parlay. Right now, new customers customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Just visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to join today. That is FanDuel.com/UCSS for your shot at $150 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA.
You know, obviously the Browns' goal is to someday have a top 10 quarterback. They have never had that since at least Bernie. We're going to talk about the list of top 10. It was really quick, though, interesting. And this has to do with something Dustin asked me about this morning. We were doing our podcast, and you said, hey, you think it's crazy to think that the Browns could trade up to 1? We talked about that.
Mm-hmm. We did that yesterday on the show.
Yep. Right. And so he brought it up with me today. And it's funny because Greg Cosell goes on the Ross Tucker podcast every week. And Greg, who we respect, his film breakdown is unmatched. So I'll take him over any of the mock 100%. Drafters. And there's been a lot of talk from mock drafters and just NFL people that none of these quarterbacks would even be in the top 6 last year. Well, Greg Cosell told Ross Tucker today that he disagrees with that. He thinks one guy, they didn't say 2, but one, Cam Ward, would have been, I didn't get the chance to hear the whole thing yet because obviously this broke while we were on the air, but I quickly saw a clip where he said Cam Ward belongs in the conversation with the top 6 from last year. So if Greg Cosell is right, let's say the Browns agree with Greg Cosell that there is a clear, because Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders.
So you're saying there's one guy head and shoulders above the rest.
That's what he's saying.
If there is, and if the Browns feel that way, then
if they agree with Cosell, then they absolutely, to the question yesterday and that you posed me today, should try to. Because if the Titans don't feel that way and the Browns do, then they should trade up to 1.
Because there's probably somebody else out there that feels the same way.
That's right.
That could leapfrog you.
That's right. So we've been talking about Cam and Shedeur as if it could go either way, and maybe there is that feeling. But if the Browns definitely feel that Cam Ward, and Greg Cosell, to me, it's eye-opening because he breaks down the film better than anybody. If they feel that way, then they should do whatever they can to get Cam Ward.
I want the Titans to take Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter so bad.
Why?
So the Browns can
have the Browns in their position, so they have to take one of them too. Yeah. And I want to see which one they will go with.
But don't you think the Titans, if they're not going to take a quarterback, will trade down? Because as I said to Dustin this morning, 6 of the top 9 teams in this draft need a quarterback. Don't you think one of them would trade up to 1?
You would think so.
You know when you'll find out? Because Jason looked this up yesterday.
Yeah.
After the combine, after pro day, after the pro days, and after combine. Week. So mid-March, early April, you'll find out.
Oh, I think the combine was next week.
The combine is next week.
Right.
But you got to wait till after pro day. Pro days is March 15th, 16th, something like that.
Right. That's going to be interesting. So, right now, Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, nowhere near the top 10. They haven't played in the league yet. But who are the top 10 quarterbacks? We were talking about this. This started off of the Super Bowl as to whether or not Jalen Hurts was a top 10 quarterback.
We did this exercise on the show, didn't we?
Right, we did. And
I have the list right here.
What do we end up with? 16 guys that are in consideration?
15 or 16. I'm going to read you those names, and we are going to make our own official UCSS top 10 quarterbacks heading into next season list today. And you could use any barometers to judge however you want to do it. It's your The way
opinion.
we're going to do this is we're going to go 1 through 10.
Yeah.
Each of you gets a vote. If it's a 2-1 vote for this player, then he gets it. If it's 1-1-1, I'll be the tiebreaker.
Okay.
Yep. So these are the guys that we said last week are at least in the conversation to be a top 10 quarterback.
Yeah.
Josh Allen, Tua, Lamar, Joe Burrow, C.J. Stroud, Pat Mahomes, Justin Herbert, Jalen Hurts, Jaden Daniels, Dak Prescott, Jared Goff, Jordan Love, Baker Mayfield, Brock Purdy, and a guy we mentioned on the show earlier today, Matt Stafford.
Is that 15 or 16? What did that end up being?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
We don't have Jaden Daniels on there?
I mentioned Jaden Daniels.
Oh, okay. So there's 15 guys that we all said belong in the conversation for the top 10. Now, there's obviously some guys that they're 100% in the top 10 is not a debate. The only debate might be where they should be ranked. So let's start there. At 1, does anybody dispute Patrick Mahomes even with a Super Bowl win?
Nope.
Okay. So
I'm keeping track. We don't have tag boards, so I'm using a little sticky note.
Yeah, that's terrible, but okay.
It is what it is. But Mahomes won.
All right. So now the first debate at 2. Tyvis, who you got?
The second best quarterback in the NFL?
Yeah.
Going into next season.
However you want to look at it. Yeah.
Hey, I mean, there's 3 names.
And once again, you can use anything you want.
Yeah, whatever criteria you want to go by, it's up to you.
I'm going to say Joseph Lee Burrow.
Dustin.
17.
1 for Allen, 1 for Burrow.
And I'm probably biased, but I'm going with Burrow. So Burrow
that means Burrow gets the number 2 spot on the UCSS list.
3.
Joshua Lamar.
Yeah. Whoever's not 3 will be 4, of course. I think we're all in agreement there.
I'm going Lamar 3.
8.
No, you're taking.
Oh, you're taking
Lamar.
Yeah,
that's number 8.
No, but what about Josh
you're
Allen?
Still taking Josh Allen
because he didn't win at 2, so you could pick him at 3.
Oh crap!
Now.
Yeah, I don't like this exercise. I'm not that smart.
So you're sticking with Allen.
Allen.
Right. It's so tough.
I would have had Allen second for the record. So
it's tough because I'm going Allen. It's tough. I kind of like Lamar a pinch more, but I'm thinking of it like who would I rather have for the rest of their careers? And I just think Allen's going to last longer.
Doing Lamar.
I don't know. Obviously, Lamar's 4.
Action Jackson. Yep.
Obviously, Lamar's 4.
All right, so we have our top 4, Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, and Lamar. Here's where it starts to get interesting.
Yeah, okay.
Jalen Hurts.
All right, so give us the rest of the guys that are, again, I just want to hear the whole list again.
The guys that we have not picked yet.
Yeah.
In no order.
Yeah.
Tua, Stroud, Herbert, Hurts, Daniels, Dak, Goff, Love, Baker, Purdy, and Stafford.
Man, there really is a big drop-off after 4 for me.
I mean,
yes.
Right?
I mean, there's nobody below 4 that you can make a case for in the top 4. Nobody.
No.
Now, if Jaden Daniels has a great season again, maybe he's, but still, he'd have to.
At 5, though, it's a nice little.
I think there's a lot of guys.
There's a lot of people I can put at 5.
If we would have done this a year ago, I might have put Dak at 5, but now I won't.
Jaden Daniels.
I mean, it's hard to pick against Jaden, but he's only done it 1 year.
Jalen Hurts. The Herbert thing. Herbert got so much talent, man. But like it doesn't really materialize for some odd reason.
And he didn't have big stats.
And he didn't have a number 1 though. Like a number 1.
To be fair, though,
true.
dude, no one had expectations for that team this year. New coach and Harbaugh, and all of a sudden they made a run.
They started the year off wacky, remember? Because I was picking up Lad McConkey. He was like, well, they run the ball. So
but McConkey was pretty good.
And then McConkey turned out to be this guy because they started throwing the ball. So, I'm not putting Herbert 5. To me, it's either C.J. Daniels or Jalen Hurts. Like
well, you got to pick one, Ty.
I know.
It's not a gimme.
I love Dak, but he's getting old. He wasn't having a great season.
You said going into this season.
Bet against
going into this season is what you saying.
Top 10 quarterbacks heading into the 2025 NFL season.
I can't.
We have the top
I gotta
4.
go with Jalen Hurts. I'm sorry. Like I'm sorry.
I'm glad they're going to win because I think my guys probably shouldn't be 5, but I'm saying Jaden Daniels. But I get outvoted.
Did Dustin say Hurts
I
as well?
did.
He did.
Okay, so Hurts is officially number 5.
Yeah.
Number 6, who you got?
I'm going Jaden Daniels, which is, it's too soon to put him up there, but I'm doing it anyway.
Jaden Daniels or Colwich Bernard Stroud IV.
Is anybody else in the conversation? No?
Do you put Herbert?
I was going to say Herbert.
Boy,
Herbert, I think,
you love
belongs.
Dak.
But I put him below them though. Well, I guess.
Is Baker in this category yet?
No.
Jared Goff.
No.
Well, I think Goff's underrated, but
He is.
He is. C.J. Jaden Daniels or Justin Herbert.
Tua, we making
So I
a
was
case
just
for
going to
Tua in
say
this
Tua
mix?
too, yeah.
When he's been healthy, he's been really good.
C.J. Jaden Daniels or Justin Herbert.
You guys got to decide because I picked Jaden for 6. I'm taking Jaden.
1 for Jaden.
I like Justin Herbert. I like CJ too. And I like Jaden Daniels. Going into this season, you see,
Yeah.
you got to go with Jaden Daniels, I feel like.
All right. Dustin?
Well, I'm out, right?
Yeah, but you got to make
I still
the
want to
pick
hear your
anyway.
pick, yeah.
For the record. Who you
Herbert.
going with? He's going with Herbert at 6.
So we got
So
Daniels
Jaden
at
Daniels
6 then.
7.
CJ Stroud.
I'm going Herbert.
Then it's Herbert.
So 2 for Herbert at 7 then.
Yeah.
Coleridge, Bernard, Stroud.
8. So possibilities at 8.
Coleridge, Bernard.
Give us all the names left again, Mike. I want to hear them again, please.
Tua, Dak, Jordan Love, Baker Mayfield, Brock Purdy, Matt Stafford.
Tua?
I'm going Stroud at 8.
Oh, yeah. That's
Where you going, Dustin?
It's already, that's it, because I said the same thing.
Stroud.
Okay, Stroud at 8. Now it gets really tough.
I'll read them one more time. We have 7 names for 2 spots. Tua, Dak, Goff, Jordan Love, Baker, Purdy, Stafford.
Jordan Love or Dak for me.
How old is Dak?
Dak is like I'm not about to sit here and play like Dak wasn't that dude. Like Dak, he just got hurt last year.
Dak is 31, will be 32 for this football season.
All right, so he's not that old.
Give me Dak, man. I'm not about to disrespect
Dustin?
him. Give me Dak.
No, I can't go Dak here. I mean, I'd rather have Stafford over Dak.
You crazy?
You going Stafford?
Stafford.
All right, I'm going Tua. So it's a 3-way. You get your first tiebreaker, Mike. Can you pick somebody besides these 3? I think you should be able to, and then we let the fans make the tiebreaker.
If we're going off pure talent, kind of think Jordan Love might be the most talented. I think Goff's crazy underrated. But for next season, not projecting for the rest of their career, for next season, we'll take Matt Stafford, I'm not going to lie.
Wow, number 9.
Stafford.
All right, so Stafford gets the spot. Who did you pick? You picked Dak.
Dak.
Which means these are the 6 guys
Yeah.
for the last spot. Tua, Dak, Goff, Jordan Love, Baker Mayfield, and Brock Purdy. Before we pick,
Yeah.
let's just make the case for each of these guys real quick. Why should Tua, and Bull, you could do Tua
Yeah.
for us.
I mean,
Make the case for Tua.
I'm actually, even though I just picked him at 9, I just realized I made a mistake. I should have picked somebody else, but it wasn't. He wouldn't have won anyway. So I'm not picking Tua at 10. But the case for Tua is that when he's been healthy the last 2 years, he's put up some big-time numbers. Now he has 2 big-time receivers with him.
Not only did they put up numbers, they were winning.
They were winning. They put up
games.
numbers. He's so injury-prone, though, that that's why I changed my mind, even though I just picked him 9. But,
So
Ty.
but that's the case.
Ty, you make the case for Dak.
I mean, listen, the dude was lights out when he played. I mean, he got hurt last year, so that's kind of how everybody forgot about him. But the year when it was time for him to get paid, I mean, the dude was a baller. I mean, he only got one real weapon over there, CeeDee Lamb. Granted, CeeDee Lamb is arguably, the second or third best receiver in the NFL. So, yes, you give him that. But listen, Dak, when you need it, when it comes to that passing attack, Dak can sling that peel better than a lot of other guys on that list. I know they don't have the postseason success, but neither does the rest of those guys on that list as well. So,
Dustin, you want to make the case for Jared Goff?
No.
Bull, do you want to make
That's why I'm changing my pick to at 10.
Well,
Listen,
you make the case for Goff.
the guy went to the Super Bowl with the Rams, okay? He went to the
title game.
Lions have been great the last couple of years. Went to the NFC title game. Went to last year, obviously a disappointment in that they lost to was it Washington?
Washington.
Right. So I guess he takes a hit for that. But he's since going to Detroit, the guy's been sensational. Now I know he's got a lot of talent around him, but he's been absolutely phenomenal. And I think because he had some really bad moments with the Rams, that we kind of have painted him with a brush that he's not that good. But I think he is. I think to me he gets it. He gets that last spot. So I think there's a lot there.
Well, let's eliminate some guys then. So who do we think is not, at least of these 6, Tua, Dak, Goff, Love, Baker, Purdy. Can we cross anyone off?
Purdy and Tua. Purdy and Tua.
Oh, really? You're not crossing off Baker?
Baker had a really good season last year.
He did, but he turns the ball over too much.
He does.
To be a top 10.
I can't deny the fact that he had a.
If you're going to turn the ball over as much as he does, you got to be an absolute superstar.
They said Jared Goff used to do that too.
Yeah, and he doesn't anymore.
I know, isn't that so? It could be fixed.
But it hasn't. He's still.
I ain't saying he's fixed, but yeah.
Yeah. Listen, Baker had a good season. He's clearly in that right now in that 11 to 16 range, or whatever, somewhere in that neck.
Which is amazing because 2 years ago, when he was bouncing from team to team,
look, he
was unstartable.
Yeah, and so he's good. Solid quarterback.
I agree.
But to me, Tua and Goff and the other guys we're considering are definitely better than him, in my opinion.
So really, it's a Dak Goff Love thing. And the other three you cross off.
Love hasn't done enough in his 2 years.
He did not have a good year this year.
No, I don't know.
So
who are we voting for?
So it's Dak or Goff.
I mean, listen, Brock Purdy had a great year 2 years ago.
So it's Dak or Goff.
I don't know. Dustin, who are you voting for? At 10.
Who was the other quarterback I could have said?
Give us the list one more time.
Purdy, Baker, Love, Goff, Dak, and Tua.
Who's the best of that bunch?
Tua,
Dak,
and I'm going with Goff, but I'm okay with Tua too. Go ahead.
He wanted to persuade Mikey.
Go ahead, Mikey.
No,
you know what? I'm going to go with him, but you know what? I'm okay, Mikey, if you want to take Tua.
I kind of like Purdy, but I don't think I could put him there. I hear the Dak.
Pick Purdy and let the fans decide.
Should we put it as a fan?
Why am I such a Purdy hater? Because he doesn't look like a quarterback?
Right. I think that's it. And he was drafted in the 7th round.
Yeah,
that's part of it.
But he's been really good.
I know he's been amazing, beyond good.
Yeah,
I just look at him, I think he's a walk-on or something.
And he feels like a product of the Niners.
This is hilarious.
Am I wrong? It's unfair. I'm admitting.
I think Jay thought he was a top 5 quarterback.
Jay definitely
might be a top 5 quarterback.
Well,
my point is,
when
I look at him,
statistically, he is in that category every year.
Not top 5.
Not top 5.
I believe he is. I
didn't
believe so.
He did not do as well as this year.
Let me see.
Especially in the second half of the season.
Purdy?
Yeah.
Purdy, I'll give you his game log right now. Hold on. Now, they dealt with a ton of injuries.
They had a lot of injuries late in the year.
It was the season from hell for them. But Purdy this season threw 20 touchdowns to 12 interceptions.
Yeah, that's not good.
He was 7th in the NFL in QBR, 10th in passing yards, despite having what we consider a down year for him.
Yeah.
I feel better about the Purdy pick.
No, I mean, Purdy was, 20 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. That's bad.
I mean, it's basically what Stafford was.
It wasn't good. I'm
not saying it's good. I'm just
Stafford wouldn't be in my top 10 anymore. You put him in there. You and
I do. I actually feel good about that one. We'll give the chat a minute or two to answer. At 12:30, we will.
So what are you giving him? 4 options?
I'm good.
I gave him 4 options: Goff, Purdy, Dak, and Tua.
If the chat go with Goff, I'm good with that. I'm good with that.
You're anti-Tua?
Yeah,
You're anti-Purdy?
I'm not anti-anybody.
All right, so we have our top 9, and then the fans will pick out of 4 guys who is the 10th best. I wonder if we had put Baker.
We're getting a lot of hate in the chat for not having Baker in here. We're getting a lot of hate right now. For not having Baker. Yeah, but why do you don't think Baker belongs in the same? It's in the same tier, but why didn't you vote for Baker? I guess. Yeah, we're getting a lot of Baker love.
Why didn't I vote for Baker?
Yeah.
I said it. He turns the ball over too much.
And he's, by the way, if we do the top 11 quarterbacks heading into 2025, he's probably the 11th.
I wouldn't vote him 11th, but I would probably have 12th, 13th. Even if I have him 14th, that's not an insult to say the 14th best quarterback in the league.
I had him 12th on my list.
I put him 11th.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. My point is, why are we getting hate when we're literally saying the guy's one of the top 12 in the world at what he does?
Yeah. At the very least, we'd all have him top 15. He's been very good. He's been a good quarterback with Tampa. What keeps him out of the top 10 for me is the turnovers. That's the difference. Most of these other guys don't turn the ball over as much.
What was Baker's numbers? What was his touchdown and turnover ratio?
Baker this year?
Yeah, this past season.
Baker this season had
a lot of touchdowns.
4,500 yards, 41 touchdowns, and 16 interceptions.
Oh, that's really good.
He was tremendous. If he can cut down the turnover.
And what was Goff? 37, 35 touchdowns? How many picks?
Jared Goff this season had 4,620 yards, 37 touchdowns, 12 picks.
So he had more yards.
Four fewer picks. He had that one game where he threw, was it 5 picks against?
Yeah, Goff had that one terrible game that skewed his interception numbers.
Now, he did turn the ball over in the playoffs.
Goff is better than Baker. Let's just.
Not by a lot.
No, not by a lot, but if you're going off of the numbers.
Yeah.
And Goff's been consistent.
Goff's won more playoff games.
He has.
That's not hating.
We're not hating on Baker, and I've crapped on Baker quite a bit.
And the sick thing is I cheer for Baker, so
he don't play here anymore. Why are people so offended by us not picking him in the top 10?
All right, you ready to close the poll?
Yeah.
In last place, Tua. In third place, Purdy. In second place, Dak, which means Jared Goff. With 46% of the vote, is the number 10 quarterback on the UCSS top 10 for 2025.
I'm good with that. I went and looked at the numbers for the past 2 years because I went and looked at Dak's numbers last year. Obviously, he didn't play this last season, so the year before that. And Jared Goff was right. They was like neck and neck. So I was like, oh, yeah.
So I would, of the guys remaining, give us, who's the 5 guys remaining now? One more time, Mike.
Tua, Dak, Love, Baker, Purdy.
Okay. If you're starting a team today, that's not a fair way to put it.
I'm about to say.
Where are you? So you're putting Baker next at 11?
Yes.
Ahead of Tua?
Well, I said Tua already, didn't I?
So you'd have Tua 11th on this list.
Yeah, I would have Tua, yes.
I would put Baker ahead of Jordan Love, even though I'd probably, if I was starting a team from scratch, I'd take Jordan Love because he's younger than Baker. But right now,
there I don't like.
I would take Baker over Jordan Love.
I don't know what it is.
I would take Baker. I like Tua. I would probably take Tua over Baker even with the injuries. I just think.
I wouldn't. I'd take Baker over Tua.
I'd take Baker over Tua, too.
And I like having a lefty quarterback.
I definitely would take Dak over Baker.
Would you take Baker over Purdy?
I would.
I would.
Did you say yes, Dustin?
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
He said take Baker.
I take Baker over
Purdy. We know
Purdy.
where you stand with Purdy.
Yeah, I guess I would take Baker over Purdy right now. I think I would. So I think on my list, that means I got Baker.
You would take Baker over Purdy after
14th.
After all of your turnover this, turnover that, you would take Baker over Purdy?
Purdy turned it over a lot this year, too.
Yeah, he did.
All right, so to recap, our list, we're going to tweet this out tomorrow when Anthony's back so we can make an actual graphic and not this.
Yeah.
This.
Yeah, right, that's bad.
Our top 10, Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, Lamar, Hurts. That's your top 5. 6 through 10, Daniels, Justin Herbert, C.J. Stroud, Matt Stafford, and Jared Goff. There you have it, the top 10 quarterbacks
that's a solid
for
list.
next season.
I feel that's a solid list.
To me, there's a drop after 4, obviously, and to me, there's a second drop after 8. I think the top 8 quarterbacks are the Super Bowl quarterbacks right now.
Do you think we got 2 and 3 wrong?
I don't know. I think a lot of people would argue that Lamar's won 2 MVPs. How do you go Burrow ahead?
2 and 3 is Burrow and Allen.
2, 3, 4 interchangeable. I heard someone describe it like ice cream. All ice cream is great. It just depends on what flavor you like better than.
Well, because the reason being is because people would say, like I'm sure Dustin would say, Allen is better because Allen had the season he had without a receiver, to where Burrow has literally one of the best receivers in the game.
Well, maybe the best.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and then have a T. Higgins as well.
Yeah.
To where Josh Allen did it with nothing, a bunch of no names. Shout out my boy Curtis Samuel, go Bucks.
Khalil Shakir's a solid back, by the way. He's good.
Do your Buffalo ties have anything to it? Are you biased a little bit?
No.
Okay.
No.
What I just said just makes sense.
I watch more Buffalo Bills games than any other team other than the Browns. So I feel like I'm pretty up on them. Maybe I'm biased. I don't know.
I think it's fair to say that Burrow, Allen, and Lamar are, even if whatever order you want to put them in, 2, 3, or 4, it's like this. I mean, you could clearly make a case for any of those three in any order.
Who was your MVP this year? If you was voting,
I would have. Here's the funny thing: last year when Lamar won, I would have voted for Allen. This year when Allen won, I would have voted for Lamar.
What about
so
you?
I think voters got it wrong both years, but I think they both should have won one in the last 2 years.
Honestly, guys, this year, last year, Allen and Lamar both could have. You could have given them each a trophy for both years.
I think Joe Burrow actually played the best, but his team wasn't good enough, so he can't win the MVP.
Statistically wise, he led the league in yards and touchdowns, didn't he?
Steve Becker wants me to compare our list to the Ringers list that was off last season. So it's not heading into...
Yeah, but that's not a fair comparison.
That's what I said. He still told me to read it. So they had Lamar 1.
When did this list come out?
January 8th, which is based off how they played in 24, not projecting to 25.
Okay.
Lamar 1. Allen.
Whoa!
2.
I was gonna say, is there a chance that Mahomes is not number 1 going into next year?
What did you say?
This is based on how they played in 24.
It's only on 20.
It's how they played in 2024.
Okay.
Lamar is 1.
He was first team All-Pro, second MVP vote.
I mean, he had a better season than Patrick Mahomes.
What's wrong with that? It's a totally different set of criteria. Yeah. This is not.
I mean, Mahomes just got embarrassed on national TV in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
The offense is going to change a lot more. They got so lucky this year. Kelsey's probably going to retire.
Even if he doesn't, he's clearly on the decline.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to have some issues.
They need to improve the talent around him. There's
they
no
do,
doubt.
100%.
Go ahead, Mike.
This ranking sucks. They had Burrow at 5.
Yeah, that's stupid.
So all right, we're not going to.
Who'd they have 3? Jaden?
I don't know how they had Mahomes at 3, Herbert at 4. There's no world where Herbert was better than Joe Burrow. Yeah, we're not going to do that. That list sucks.
This is a stupid list.
All right, let's do a read. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We don't have a read. Hopefully we get much more sponsors so we get back to doing reads every time we have a break. And we're going to finish today's show with some Cavaliers talk. Yesterday on First Take, Stephen A. Smith said something that the Cavs had been waiting on for a long time. Him and Chris Mad Dog Russo went.
Cavs have been waiting for Stephen A. Smith to say it?
They've been asking for national attention and the respect from guys like Stephen A. Was the exact quote from Donovan Mitchell after the OKC win in January. So, yes, but this is a little 2-minute clip from First Take yesterday. Let's take a listen.
I'm looking at Cleveland a little bit differently.
Who's the duo?
Well, again, you could give me Garland and Mitchell. You could give me Mitchell and Mobley, whatever. I'm simply saying to you, the Cleveland Cavaliers, I'm watching them because the more I look at them, the more I think they could be in the NBA Finals.
Agreed.
Cleveland.
Agreed. I 100% agree with you, Stephen A., on that. And this morning we were looking at some numbers. As a team, they're flirting with 50-40 in terms of their field goal and three-point splits. They can do it on both ends of the floor. I've been really impressed with them, so I agree with you on that.
I do not like Cleveland. I think they're a regular season team. I do not like Cleveland.
I think they were a regular season team, but my man, the Godfather, Michael Wilbon, always talks about how before you win, you must suffer.
Scar tissue.
And they suffered. And they suffered. And then not only do they come back better this year, remember, it's not the same coach. You got Atkinson there now, even though Bickerstaff's doing a hell of a job in Detroit. But you got Atkinson there doing a hell of a job. And then you acquired Hunter from Atlanta, who's a 6'8" perimeter defender that can give you 19 a game, that can hit corner threes. Cleveland, with their size, their athleticism, their shooting ability, their coaching, you cannot summarily dismiss them. And it pains me to say that because I thought the East was going to come down to the Knicks and Cleveland. I find myself now on my knees praying that Mitchell Robinson's going to come back and be healthy so Karl Anthony Towns can have an extra formidable person on the front line defensively, and he could do his thing offensively from the 4, like he's been doing. I'm looking at that, but I'm looking at Cleveland, and I'm like, yo, man, they look like they could beat anybody. Anybody.
They wanted some love from Stephen A. They got it.
Yeah, I'll tell you this, too. I guarantee it. Mad Dog does not watch. I guarantee you Mad Dog's seen the Cavs play maybe 3 times. I can guarantee. I've worked with the guy. I know the guy a little bit. He has not watched the Cavaliers play. Maybe a couple of national games, maybe against the Knicks.
At this point, like, for people to sit there, anytime somebody say the Cavs can go to the finals, for anybody to put their nose up, turn their nose up to that, to the thought of that, clearly have not watched basketball. Right. Clearly have not
and that doesn't mean they're going
to
go to
attention
the finals,
to anything because literally you have NBA coaches coming out saying you have to play darn near perfect to beat the Cleveland Cavaliers. What do you mean it's far-fetched for them to go to the finals? Like, yes, they can go to the finals as long as they continue to play like this in the postseason. I think Mad Dog is right when he says that, when he claims that they're a regular season team.
They've been that.
Historically for the past couple of years, yes, that's a fact. And they do have to change that narrative. That's fair to say. But to turn your nose up at the fact that they could go to the finals, you clearly ain't been watching them this year. Because what you seen last year from the things that they were doing with JB, the fact that they were even able to get that far with the stuff that was going on, and then you watch them this year, it's a totally different team. The energy is different. The ball movement is different. More guys are getting involved. The scoring can come from anybody. You got like 8 people on the Cavs team that can go for 20 on any given night. Like, it's yes, they 100% can go to the finals. It's not crazy to think that Mad Dog's lost his mind.
Yeah, I mean, they've got the third best odds of any team in the NBA to win the title. So to think it's crazy that they could go is absolutely insane.
Yeah.
I mean,
no doubt about it. It's silly to say they can't go. That doesn't mean they will, because the Celtics are the favorites and will remain the favorites because they're defending champs, even though the Cavs have a better record. But to say there's no way they can go, do the Cavs have a lot to prove still in the playoffs? Absolutely. And if they have a disappointing, let's say they lost, if the Cavs lose in the second round of the playoffs, then you can go back and say, you know what, they were a fraud.
Yeah.
That would be fair at that point. But to essentially call them a fraud now, which is what he's saying, is unfair.
I hadn't thought of this, but let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
Let's say in a hypothetical world the Cavs lose to the Bucks in the second round, right? They win their first round series, lose to the second round. Are we going to have conversations all summer about what we had this summer?
Yes.
They have to blow up the core 4. Like, despite this incredible regular season, will we be right back to square one if it's not at least Eastern Conference Finals appearance?
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, because all that matters in the end is the playoffs, no matter how well you do in the regular season. Now, they lose a hard-fought battle to Boston in the Eastern Conference Finals. No, then we're not having those conversations. Then we're saying, okay, we battled them, it was close, we lost 6 games, lost 7 games. It's a heartbreaker. Let's do it again. But if they go out of the playoffs in the second round against the Milwaukee Bucks,
hey,
that's bad.
Hey, come on now.
But I don't think that's going to happen.
The greatest player to ever touch the court, after you lose to that, I mean, that's no harm.
They got to get to the conference finals.
No shame in that.
No, they got to get to the conference finals.
Giannis is tough.
Yeah, but what about the rest of that team?
Dame?
He's old.
Dame Dollar. Dame playing better than – did you not watch this man – Dame is back. I don't know what you're talking. No. You ain't watching the Bucks. You ain't watching the Bucks. You ain't watching the Bucks.
I'm not.
Chris Middleton?
I keep it real.
Chris Middleton got traded into the Wizards. They got Kyle Kuzma now.
I forgot he was gone.
Yeah.
Who's the other good player they have on the Bucks? He's got suspended, right?
Bobby
Portis.
Yeah. Suspended for the rest of the season.
No, it's not the rest of this.
Rest of the regular season.
25 games. It's 28 games.
It's basically the season.
He got 3 games to get ready for the playoffs.
Yep.
So.
I don't know. Cavs, they got to go to the Eastern Conference Finals. Minimum.
If the Cavs lose to the Bucks in 7.
I
mean,
you can't lose to the Bucks after a season like this.
The Bucks been playing really well lately.
The Cavs are what? 44
and 10.
44 and 10. They're going to win 60 games. You can't lose to the Bucks.
The Golden State Warriors, which is better. This is the best time to remind people that the Golden State Warriors broke the record for most wins in the season and went up 3-1 in the finals against the Cleveland Cavaliers and blew it.
Okay, Tyvis. If the Cavs go to the finals,
never forget that.
If the Cavs go to the finals and blow a 3-1 lead to the Oklahoma City Thunder and lose in 7, we're not going to spend the offseason saying break up the team.
You would break up the team if they lost to the Bucks in 6 or 7?
If they lose to the Bucks in the second round, I'm not going to say break up the team, but there's definitely going to be conversations about at least somewhat breaking up.
Something's going to have to go
you're going to have
catastrophically wrong if they lose to the Bucks in the second round.
Yes, I agree. I don't think it's going to happen. I think Boston is the only team in the East that can beat the Cavs.
Okay.
Again, I'm no expert, but that's the way it looks to me.
They're in a class of their own in the Eastern Conference, those two.
Yeah.
I don't want to say it's impossible. You never know with injuries and all that stuff. A team gets red hot in the playoffs, but it's Boston, Cleveland, then a significant drop-off, then the New Yorks, the Milwaukees, the Indianas of the East. Orlando's a team that could junk stuff up if they get in the right position and get healthy. They've been hurt all year. But
are the Knicks on their own of the next level, and then it's a group?
I think so, yeah. No, I think New York's better than
right, but the Cavs won't have to. The Cavs are most likely going to play either the Celtics or the Knicks,
which is a
blessing. They're not going to have to play both because those two teams are going to finish second and third.
Which is why that 1 seed and the race for the 1 seed, which they have a 5.5 game lead over Boston in, is going to be a crucial component for it. It means a lot more to Cleveland than it does to Boston.
The Cavs would have to fall apart the rest of the regular season to not be the 1 seed. I mean, they got a 6-game lead in the loss column.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible. But
even if they played, let's say the Cavs, they have
28 games left.
28 games left. Okay. Let's say they played 500 basketball, which that would be a shocker beyond shock.
14-14. They finished the season 58-24.
Okay. How many games are the Celtics going to win this year?
Well, they have, what's 39 plus 16? 55?
Yeah,
so
they have 27 left.
Games left. So they'd have to go 19-8.
And that's if the Cavs go, like, Celtics, okay, they'll probably win about 20 games the rest of the year, right? So if the Cavs played 500 the rest of the way, they could still finish first. They'd probably finish second by a game or two. They're going to definitely play better than that. So things would have to be really bad.
I'm not saying they're going to get caught. I'm just saying that's more important to Cleveland than it is to other teams. And the 1 seed, for that exact reason you just mentioned, not only home court advantage in Game 7.
But avoiding the Knicks also in the semis.
But having Boston and New York beat up on each other.
Right.
Yes.
And not just avoiding the Knicks, but, as you said, because the Knicks will play a good series, you'd think, against the Celtics.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's something to be said for that team could be in the Cavs' head because they've taken
the Knicks.
Yes.
Well, which is why
you
want the Celtics and Knicks to beat each other up.
It's a win-win if you get the number 1 seed. As Mike said, you get the Game 7 at home and you avoid the Knicks. So, I think going into the season and now the playoffs, everybody knows. To win a title, you're going to have to beat Boston.
Yes.
It goes through Boston.
Yes.
Period.
That's it.
They're the champs. So we understand that.
Yeah.
Get the Knicks the hell out of the way.
Right.
I'm cool with path of least resistance, man.
In the second round, the team the Cavs are most likely to play is what? Milwaukee, Indiana?
One of those two, yeah.
Okay. There's no reason the Cavs should lose to Milwaukee or Indiana in the playoffs. That would be inexcusable if that happened. I don't think any of us think that would happen.
It's not going to happen, but
inexcusable.
If it happened, it wouldn't
it's a disaster.
It wouldn't blow my mind.
I mean, it's not impossible, sure. It's not like I wouldn't.
Giannis could go superhero, but that's the only way.
It's just
that's the only.
They got Giannis and Dame. Like I mean,
but they got nothing else.
Yeah, no,
that's a lot though.
Performance.
That's a lot though. Jimmy Butler did it a couple years ago just by himself. So it's crazy to think Giannis and Dame couldn't do that.
Giannis got hurt that series.
Yeah. Did everybody get hurt? Every team they played that year?
That's happened where
they beat
Boston.
Warriors. Also, Wemby's out for the season.
What? What happened to him?
I thought he had an illness.
Yeah, Shams just tweeted it, and now it just got confirmed. But Wemby has a deep vein thrombosis in his right shoulder. I don't know what that is.
I've heard of it, but I don't know exactly what it is. That
sucks. They cooked.
They were a playoff team, right?
Yep.
No, they had just fallen below the play-in tournament.
They cooked.
And
they had?
Yeah, they just fallen below. Not like super far, but
they
had fallen out. And with the De'Aaron Fox trade, they were hoping that would
Isn't it crazy?
Kiss it goodbye.
Look at Durant. I love that the Suns are not they're not even in the play-in tournament. The Suns.
Don't matter. Durant,
How pathetic are they?
Durant signing with the Rockets this offseason, and he'll be back.
Ugh, I hate Durant.
What's wrong with y'all?
Basically,
I hate
the
Harden.
Wemby thing, it's a form of a blood clot in his right shoulder.
Oh, that's
So
scary.
hopefully
We'll
it's
wish him
not-
the best.
Yeah, hopefully it's not
wow.
serious because he is a very fun, promising
Yeah.
young player.
You think you guys think the Sixers will grab that final play-in spot? I mean, this is what the problem with the NBA. Right now, the Bulls would be a playoff team. They're 11 games under 500. I mean, what a joke. This is why the NBA regular season sucks. That a team that's 11 games under 500.
The fact that Philly is this far is out of it is a shame.
Philly's
That's a
14
shame.
games under 500.
That's a shame.
They still got a reasonable shot to make the playoffs.
That's a shame that they record is that trash, and that's
Toronto is 21 games under 500. They still got a shot to make the playoffs. What's happening with your sport, Mike? It's a disgrace.
Too many teams make the playoffs.
It's ridiculous.
I do not like the fact that so many teams make
You
it.
want to fix the NBA regular season? One change.
I'm sure
6 teams make the playoffs instead of 10. Boom.
that'd be huge.
First 2 get a bye. You'd have guys playing a lot harder in the regular season.
Dude, the NBA is not in a great spot right now.
No, the playoffs though. It'll make
know
up
what
for it,
it,
hopefully.
You know what is
Past the first couple of rounds, what's
Yeah.
that?
You know what is in a great spot? The 4 nations face off.
It made the NBA look like a disgrace.
That's what we're doing in overtime today. Real quick, before we go to Super Chats,
And
Dustin and Tyvis, you were here yesterday. Bull wasn't. We talked to Stump Mitchell, former Browns running back coach,
Yeah.
who was very open, candid, good interview. You can
I
find
saw
it on
some
the
of it.
YouTube
I didn't
page.
see the whole thing, but
We
I saw
tweeted out
some
a couple clips.
Yeah.
Tyvis and Dustin, and I'll ask you both second, but were you surprised at anything that Stump told us in terms of either you didn't know it or were surprised he was that kind of open and candid about it?
Kareem Hunt. The fact that Kareem Hunt was trying to tell everyone how to do their jobs, essentially behind the scenes.
Oh, really? What did he say? What did he say exactly?
He was just giving like every time they would teach something,
Yeah.
He
you
would
know,
say,
how
"This
we're
is
going to do
how-
it here.
okay."
He'd be like, well, in Kansas City, we would do it this way.
Oh, so Kareem Hunt was being a pain in the ass.
I think
Stump
he
basically
he-
said,
yeah, I mean, it sounded like Kareem thought that the way they did it in Kansas City was the only way to do it because they won.
Interesting.
So, I thought that was fascinating.
I understand they won, but you're not the coach.
I like.
Yeah.
He's wrong.
I was laughing at the fact that he was open. He basically confirmed everything that everybody thought, but the fact that he was like basically saying how, Kevin changed everything, how the offensive line.
Yeah, that's the clip I saw.
The
That
scheme
was
and all that stuff didn't fit. I was like, I'm glad that when I said that a year ago, I'm glad that it's like, all right, I know what the heck I'm talking about. Like, because I know, I'm like,
right.
you chose the 1 over 52 like we
Yeah.
said all this time.
Right.
And he just confirmed all that.
Well,
which is great.
that's over, thankfully, and we'll see how it translates on the field going forward.
I thought it was a kind of tough look for Stefanski, to be honest, with some of the
Oh, yeah,
comments from
for
Stump.
sure.
Like, he did not come off in a great light after that interview, hearing from the inside perspective. And granted, it's one person's opinion. It doesn't mean it's necessarily fact as opposed to other things, but did not come off great. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I'll mention another thing we talked about on the podcast. Dustin asked me, would you rather trade right now for Matthew Stafford or Sean McVay? And I said I'd rather trade for Sean McVay. And I'm
100%.
someone that has always been quarterback is way more important than the coach. But especially because Stafford's 37.
Damn, I had a good podcast today, huh?
It was good.
I had
You did
a
a
bunch
good
of good
job.
If
questions
Stafford
in
was
there.
32, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, but Stafford's not 32. And Sean McVay, to me, if you factor in age, is maybe the most valuable coach in the league.
Oh yeah, and he doesn't even need to coach. Like
No,
he's already
agreed.
accomplished enough to
Yeah.
to just go do whatever the hell he wants.
Right. Now, I'd have to be convinced that he's not going to retire after a year or two.
Sure.
Otherwise, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
But if I could get Sean McVay, see you, Kevin.
Yeah.
I'd
I don't
hand
think
him the
anyone would
reins.
argue with that.
Sean McVay, I say, Sean, you're the coach for the next. I give him a 10-year contract. I'd let Sean McVay hire the GM.
Isn't he
and let's
flirting
go.
with retirement?
Yeah, so I'd have to have a commitment for him that he's not going to retire, although he could change his mind.
He does that every year to get a raise, and
Yeah,
it works.
yeah,
And I
which
would
he
do the
deserves.
same thing. All right, we got some super chats. You guys
Yeah.
ready? Mick McGee says, I agree, Bull. I live near Daytona. Drivers are terrible. Did you almost get hit? Was there a specific incident?
No, I didn't almost get hit. But it's just when you try to make these turns sometimes where it's not a turn light, people are so like usually you complain about drivers being too aggressive. In Florida, it's the opposite. They're not aggressive enough. Like you got to go for it eventually.
Well, they also in Florida drive ridiculously fast on the highway. Do you notice that?
I wasn't really on the highway much.
Okay. Well, I mean, I've noticed.
Well, the speed limit's faster there.
It's in the 70s or whatever, but like people drive 90, 95 on the highway, and it's like it's just you got to go with the traffic or get the hell out of the way.
Yeah,
dude.
I actually don't have a problem with that. I think it's the two slow drivers on the streets and they can't turn.
I agree.
Everything looks the same. In Florida, the whole thing is just strip malls, right? There's just strip mall after strip mall. They all look exactly the same. They all got that same like purplish, tannish tile, and but it's
what part of Florida
beautiful.
was you in?
Gulf side.
The Gulf side.
Naples and
Bonita Springs,
the rich people.
Fort Myers.
Dude, there's
rich people.
Florida is
rich people.
Dude,
I stayed at the Town Place Suites. It wasn't like, I was staying at a fancy place.
I seen that you sent us a picture with you hanging out.
Yeah, I was just hanging out.
with
that
the
was
pool.
Florida's very diverse. Put it that way.
Yeah. Oh, it certainly is.
It's not just.
I certainly wasn't hanging with rich people.
Right.
No, I'm not rich, and I don't hang with.
You said
rich
Naples. When I think of Naples, I
well,
think
yeah,
of
but
older,
that's the air.
rich.
Okay, so
people.
like old Naples and like Fifth Avenue and stuff is.
Yeah, there's some fancy parts, but that's not where I was.
Okay.
But we actually one night. We went to the movies, even though we were in Florida, because it was that night. It was like whatever. We went to see the new Captain America movie. Man, Marvel is struggling right now. I'll tell you that.
You didn't like it?
Nah.
All right, next super chat comes from Salvatore the 216.
Yeah.
He says, Tyvis, do you know what you'll do with your, quote, I'm cooler than everyone because I don't take time off work points? And welcome back, Bull.
Thank you.
What I would do with them? See, like I explained this yesterday on the radio. The reason that I make myself, you would say that the best way to show somebody that you love them is not just throwing money at the situation, it's being there, right?
Sure.
Okay, so for me, I love my fans. So therefore, I have to be here and I show my love for my fans by being here.
And everybody loves you, Tyvis, but that doesn't mean they don't want you.
You shouldn't scold me because I'm doing this.
Nobody's scolding you. We're just saying it's healthy to take vacation.
Y'all are
and I'm
selfish.
sure your wife would love to take a vacation.
Y'all are selfish because the fans they tune in every day, 11 to 1. Or they actually, some people dictate what day they gonna watch due to the fact because y'all are supposed to be on that day.
And I appreciate the fans.
If they,
so
just imagine on Tuesday, they're like, I can't wait to see Bull. And then they get there and it's me, Dustin, and G.
Yeah.
They're like, well, where's Bull?
Well.
Some people be like, all right, I'm out.
All right,
next one comes from Salvatore, who, by the way, Salvatore is one of the biggest UCSS fans. He has sent two more. The first was, where can I get UCSS merch? Cleveland Clothing Company had some. I'm not sure if they're currently in stock or not, but we are working on a second round of merch, some new merch, some updated merch from our 2022 line.
Sounds good.
So stay tuned, Salvatore. As soon as that comes out, I will make sure I personally send you a link so you can get some. The other and third super chat from Salvatore says, realizing yesterday the entire panel of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show are not actually fans of the Cleveland sports team. It was like finding out Santa is not real with 3 laughing emojis.
What do you mean?
That's not true. Jason just said he's not a fan of the Browns or really the Cavs. He's sort of more Guardians, but not as much because
But he's not a fan of any team.
Right, that's what he said.
He's some people that become reporters, and we aren't reporters. When you become a reporter, a lot of times you lose that passion for rooting for your team.
It's true.
Yeah.
But Salvatore, we all want them to win. Regardless of if you are.
As I always say, if nothing else,
we want them to win.
Winning is good for business, so we want that to happen.
2 more. Chris Fox says Jalen Hurts in the top 5 is crazy. Well, if you want
he's been to 2 of the last 3 Super Bowls and won 1.
Well, if you want a reminder, we did the official UCSS top 10 list. This is the only list that matters. I don't care about The Ringer. I don't care about ESPN. I don't care about NFL.com. And according to our list, Jalen Hurts is in the top 5. So if you disagree, you're the crazy one, not us.
Well, who is clearly better beyond that group? I personally voted for Jaden Daniels. And I might even, I mean, I don't think you could put, to me, I'm not putting him any lower than 8. That, to me, is the lowest that you could put Jalen Hurts.
I think 6 is the lowest if you go with Hurts.
Some people disagree. Go ahead.
He's one of those guys that he don't get a lot of credit either. Even though every time he's been in the Super Bowl, he's outperformed the quarterback that everybody says is the best thing since sliced bread.
That's true.
That's another story for another day.
Last super chat.
Yeah.
Myles Garrett will not be traded. That is from Boz Crow.
Maybe you
Those
won't.
are super chats today.
All right.
So,
Good job, guys. We'll see you on overtime.
4 nations face off. Are you excited? Talking about an overtime.
Yeah.
The finals. USA versus Canada.
Yeah.
Peace.
Peace.
Why did